Right up. There we go. All right. I am dropping from yours and I'll see you over at mine. Hey, oh, OG, my links are in the bottom of your StreamYard. I'll see everybody over at my place. I'm live. Come on over. Badass. All right. Hi, everybody. I am getting all fixed up here and making sure that whew, we got what I need. Dr. Hooliganism. He's still getting everyone over here. Kraut, good to see you, sir. Good morning. Sasquatch, my good sir.
He's
Hello.
nuts.
Yes, I'm still in the black tank top that everybody wants so damn bad. You know, Marte has it, Tucker has it, Speakeasy has it. Who else did we find out had it? OG might know. I don't remember. Now, yesterday, like literally, I'm
Sasquatch. I was an alcoholic for. Wait.
I'm sorry. I need just a second. All right, go ahead. Talk to the people for me for a minute, please.
That was kind of an attempt. I was doing some humorous monologuing as though I was at an AA meeting. Didn't work. Timing. See, timing is everything when it comes to laying out a good joke.
Okay. Sorry. I had to pass along just a little bit of information. My bad. My bad. Okay. I'm here. Now I got to get, don't do that. I can deal with you later. Too many tabs open at once. All right. I got to find where the debate is. So we are going to be going over Dusty's other debate against Father Joseph. I was really upset because there was a mic issue at the very beginning and we missed part of his opening statement. And like, I don't know. I just had a feeling that this was going to be a good one. And that this priest, out of any priests for like Dusty to talk to, I felt like they would have good conversation. You know what I'm saying? Squatch.
Dusty can generally hold his own as an opposition of virtually anything. He is a natural contrarian. It is probably one of his more based traits. Now, he has learned to curtail that in so that he doesn't tell you no, like Cynthia, like everybody else on freaking YouTube starts every fucking sentence negatively. I hate negative people. And you can tell who people are by the way they talk. When every time they open their mouth, they say no.
I can hear you.
They think all the time. That is how they feel life treats them, and how they have to treat life is by being directly negative and contrarian to everything. And I can't live life that way. It feels fucking exhausting. It looks exhausting from over here. Are you tired?
I use no. I use no to shut somebody up.
Yes, every single sentence after anything ever with no.
Yeah, just to be contrary to whatever it is, even if it's a point they believe.
The reason they say it 3 times is because they're a negative person and they haven't figured out how they're going to hate on this time. right? So they say it 3 times to give their brain long enough to pick something out of what was just said to be contrarian about. And usually it ends up being fucking grammar or semantics is the bitchiest part about that whole fucking thing. I'm
Or a
sorry.
point that you got to argue back and forth for about hours because they keep moving the goalposts because you destroy every point they make on it.
Well, not only moving the goalpost, but pretending as though this isn't a game in the first place, as if points aren't being scored and there is no terms of victory. And while I agree there are no terms of victory on YouTube, ultimately you can lose. And the way I see it as far as YouTube's concerned is when you show up, you're like a new toy. Everybody wants to come play with you, and you get to meet all of the best and the worst. And a lot of the best just don't put themselves out there like they used to, right? And so,
Yeah. And in that case, you get to find out if you get to be the bat or the ball.
well, sure, but no, you exist on YouTube until you become the villain, right? Eventually, you'll do say, or somebody will pull up a drunk quote from you somewhere, probably directly off of your own channel. And it'll surface when you're trying to, get a passport or some shit, and you'll just stop fucking posting.
Well, that's what my bat and ball analogy is about. I mean, when you're the bat, you're hitting all the points and people are listening. When you're the ball, you hear the point that they're trying to make some point about you and your behavior. You're the, how can I say, not famous one, but the infamous
Well,
one.
you're either the activist or the reactionary, right? If you're the activist in a conversational sense, if you're the activist, you're the one bringing claims and points to the table. If you're a reactionary, you're the one having to respond to those points and claims. And most reactionaries don't actually have the ability to refute reality. Instead,
No, this is where you decide. This is where the deciding factor comes in. Are you making content or are you the content yourself?
not okay. So that's a slightly different question. Anybody who stays in this live streaming sphere for long enough eventually realizes that that is an immaterial distinction because we are all content, whether we choose to be it or not. So
Right.
it doesn't matter what you think you are because you are content the second you come on here.
Yeah, but
There
there's
is
some
no
there's some
I,
people, and I could throw a name out there, for instance, like Mike Cerrone, that all they are is content. They can't make content; they are the content.
well, how long? How long? All right, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. That is a helicoptering dick with a mole rabbit hole. I don't want to go down.
Whoa! I don't even want to know all about that.
I had, oh my God, I made the greatest clip of all time one time, exiled, and I cannot fucking find it. I have had a membership to Tomatoes for fucking ever, and I cannot find it. Mike Cerrone came on Tomatoes one night. I was over here entertaining a lovely young lady, and I was about half liquored up and I was modding chat, right? This was back when she was still on that hard charge to like 2,500 or whatever it was, 2,000. 3,000, whatever it was. Anyway, Mike Cerrone pops up on one of the garbage panel, garbage fire panels, and that's perfectly acceptable behavior. But Mike was a little drunk when he popped up, and he immediately started off into that whole being a little too gay for the party, if you get what I'm saying. Like he was trying to into being
He instantly got everybody's attention, but not in the right way.
not exactly. And so I pop in, he pops up, he's over there, and Sarah like made him the center of attention for a good 5 minutes, and he didn't handle it well. He was kind of a fuddy-duddy, but as soon as it tried to move on, he got a little more life in him when he got to be able to pick on somebody else, right?
I'm not itching your taint.
It's in her fucking backlog somewhere, and I cannot find it. I popped in. I'm up there for about 10 minutes. I just tell Tomato, I'm like, hey, give me and Mike a minute. And she's like, okay. And I said, Mike, listen, you got on this panel by saying you've never exposed yourself on camera when I know for a fact that you helicoptered counterclockwise. So don't do that here. He's like, man, I'm not going to do that. I was just like a little drunk. And he's like, so exactly what the fuck do you want, Sasquatch? And I said,
but he's always a little drunk.
I know, I get it. He was a little bit further along, and I named like I can't remember exactly what it was that I said, but I referenced like 5 different streams where he got the different channels struck in one sentence, and you see the gears turning in his head. He blinks, and I said, now all I want you to do is say that my kung fu is better than yours, and go back to being a normal person on the panel. And he sat there blinking at the screen and went, Sasquatch, your kung fu is better than mine. I thank you, Miss Tomato. I might be back, but probably not. And he left. And nobody on the panel knew who he was at all, right? Had no fucking clue who he was. And I shut him down and sent him back voluntarily, like got him to willingly just leave the panel so that this didn't become more specific, because the man's been to jail like 3 times. And do you know what charges he's been to jail? Okay, so we're done, right?
Real quick, is D9 here? D, did you come over with everybody? I don't see D in the chat. I want her, my midget kitty is here, and I want her to meet the midget. This is Bailey.
That is almost eating size.
She's freaking 5 years old. She's a midget. No kidding.
You keep feeding her.
Itty bitty baby.
One Kung Pao chicken.
For real. When she was found and brought to us, she was really sick and she almost died. And we got her healthy, and then she just stopped growing, didn't you?
You like stories, right, Beth?
Yes.
We have any problem with a little story? I might have told you this story. I had a pig who lived with my dog.
Reason. Before you go into your story, real quick, Wrath of Reason. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I think that if people heard me out and actually looked at things, unfortunately, it looks even worse than people think it was. But yes, it went in my favor. And I'm glad that she still has her channel. I really don't want to shit on DSD. I want to see her grow and evolve as a creator and get past all this. And I wanted to see her be just as successful. So
that is some of the most virtue signaling bullshit I've ever heard you spew.
No, I mean it. Okay, I'm trying.
I'm not saying you don't. I believe the same thing, but I'm
trying to be positive.
You and still like not do anything involving anything to do with you, right? I want the best. I really hope you wake up tomorrow and you're an actual, fully actualized and realized person. I don't think that's going to happen, but I really hope it does one day. I really do.
All right, guys. Well,
short as I am,
I think we got a crowd waiting on a video from us.
We do. And I've got it ready.
Or are you lollygagging around over there playing with each other?
Well, we were waiting on
yeah. Mr. Hooliganism will be back here in a minute with his monstrosity. And about time he gets back, I'm gonna have to walk both of mine.
Yeah, he was closing out. He probably walking Tucker, using the restroom himself, grabbing a drink of water.
Yep, that's what he said. He's taking care of Tucker. So if the audience, everybody watching, will just kind of chill with us for a few minutes till OG gets here. I know he really wants to cover this debate, and I want him to as well. OG and I have been talking about doing some religious content on at least some kind of regular basis, right? Which I'm all about because I'm a super nerd when it comes to that shit. Especially, the archaeology and the history behind a lot of the stuff we read about in the scriptures. So hopefully we are going to get to that, and hopefully this right here, this debate review, is going to be the first piece of us doing that.
That's some crazy batshit bullshit.
That's the reason we're good. It's good. I get it. No worries. We good. I'm not gonna make it gay. Dad won. Jeez. The big look, Grid. You know what the big thing is? Is I just don't want to have another 10-hour stream for a 1 hour debate. That was kind of painful.
So
And again, Grid, I am so sorry for yelling with you on panel like that.
It'll take exactly as long as you make it take. Not everybody gets a seat at the table if there's too many people at the table. You can get through it pretty quick with 4 people, depending on who they are, right? Like you get 10th man, it's going to be paused every 16 seconds. And
oh, well, the good news is 10th man doesn't want to speak to me anymore. You saw what happened last night, right?
I didn't. I saw part of it and then I went to bed. Like,
I actually got mad. I got mad. And
well,
the tone of Grid's voice when he finally spoke up when I was done screaming, fuck you, go away, was actually kind of comical. I enjoyed it.
It's all comical, honey. It's all content. And this is exactly why you don't see me stick around long enough to actually start getting any type of emotional. I can think of 3 times when I wasn't drunk. Now, when I'm drunk, I don't give a fuck because I love you, man. Like, I love you and I love him. And I'm going to tell y'all some painful goddamn truths. And we're all going to laugh and it's going to hurt. Everybody's going to hate me when I wake up tomorrow. You know, it's just an occupational hazard of being an asshole. So, not drunk.
That's pretty much what I said. I said, you'll get over it.
It'll be very difficult to get me to do anything more than pretend to be offended. Like, I'll do the whole act and then turn around and be like, okay, I was just checking. Right? Just see how that worked.
Denizen, I don't even want to hear it. I put the link in OG's back chat. You were there. It's in your fucking... Yes, there you go. There you go. What did we say? She...
Yes, please.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
I think she's
last invited to the party yet again.
And
last night I was getting screamed at. You have no clue. Oh my god! I wish we could have heard the.
You guys screamed at so bad you don't even remember I was there.
No, before I clicked live. Okay, before I clicked.
Oh, I got you.
I was already being screamed at because 10th man wanted to cover this debate. He was furious about this debate, but I don't like talking about God with 10th man. Okay, I have faith. My faith is important to me, and I do not like being belittled and talked down to. I'm not saying he has to believe in the same
What's
faith
your faith?
that I have. I believe there's one God who created everything. I believe that the Messiah came to earth, became the perfect sacrifice, and now I try to walk the way I'm supposed to, and I fail miserably because I'm a meat sack just like you guys.
Is the Bible like the holy word of God?
I think it's inspired by God, but I am skeptical of man because we've seen in modern times even how man puts their own influence on everything that they touch when it comes to God.
I think I can carve that out of my criticism.
So therefore, I look at the Bible like it's a history book, right? And history is always going to be written by it's the standpoint theory, okay? I'm writing about this war, so I'm going to tell you how the war went from my perspective, even though my opposition's probably going to tell you a different story. And so that's how I look at it. That's how I treat it. And actually, like, I'm a super nerd. Like, I love looking up like the archaeology on this stuff and what do we have that can help prove different aspects of it. And putting it together like a little jigsaw puzzle. At this point, I've locked down when the 10 plagues of the Exodus happened, and that includes the parting of the Red Sea and the death of the firstborn male of all the Egyptian households. I got that shit. I know exactly who Joseph was. I wrote a fucking huge paper on it that I submitted to multiple archaeologists. Like, this is actually like my passion. I'm a closet nerd that you guys just don't know about. Talk Nephilim with me sometime. You'll really think I'm crazy, though.
I have, and I do. I know the flavor of crazy that you are there. I've also read those, right? So just because I didn't take them to heart and don't believe that they actually grant, you've got to admit it reads kind of like superhero comics.
Right.
I mean,
so,
every single one of these figures goes through the hero journey, and they do all of the things that you do in a superhero comic. So why should I view it as any different?
If you the big thing that I have is you need to, again, you have to consider the viewpoint of the writer, and especially if we're gonna, like, say we go back in time, and let's grant for the sake of argument that some form of mystical clairvoyance can be granted by God on a limited basis to a human being to give them a prophetic view of the future. Okay. Yes, namaste the fuck away. Do you see these bags? I look old. I'm not glowing like I was last night. Anyway,
can I count what you just said?
Hang on. Just granting for the sake of argument, okay? We can rewind after I make the point and then argue whatever. I don't give a shit. But were that the case, that could happen, and someone in ancient times was given a prophetic view of what was going to come, the way that they would describe tanks and armored vehicles and things that we have in war in modernity kind of makes a little sense when you read Genesis, or not Revelation, right? If they've never seen things like this, they're going to try to compare it to the closest possible thing. But that's only if it were the case that this could happen to begin with.
Okay, if it were the case.
Yes,
is it more likely that a schizophrenic scribe who believed he was hearing the voices of God wrote some shit down, as some of it happens to be pretty close to comic book type material, which hell, half of our modern devices were derived almost directly from either comic books or sci-fi. So or could this not have been a schizophrenic writing down his scattered thoughts?
It could very well be.
Is more likely, in your opinion, honey, which one is more likely, that there is a single godly prophet who happened to be exactly in the right place for his works to propagate down to, or that there were a bunch of schizophrenic inbred motherfuckers writing a bunch of different shit? This is the shit that happened to survive down through the ages.
The problem is that we have multiple prophets who, while, yeah, I don't think that all of the prophecies have actually come to pass yet. The ones that have were so freaking like dead on to some minute details that I have a hard time believing that it's coincidence. And a perfect example of that is a perfect example of this is Psalm 22. My God, why have thou forsaken me? That's how it starts off. Jesus is calling attention to that. And literally, how could he make the Romans draw lots for his clothes while he was tied to a stake bleeding to death?
You lost me.
Reads in Psalm 22. You want to read Psalm 22. It was written by King David 1,000 years before Jesus, Yeshua, as I call him, ever fucking lived. Okay? It literally describes the entire situation with the crucifixion, right down to the Roman soldiers drawing lots for who was going to get which pieces of his clothing.
Yeah, but that's like when there's parts of Egyptian lore recreated in different, like,
Ah,
Stan Lee stories.
yeah, the Egyptian shit. I was obsessed with that when I was a kid, man. And
How did
that's where you start
it's
getting into the Nephilim, and that is where it really gets sci-fi ish. And man, I'm not saying it's real. I'm saying, but I
how
am saying it's fun to
you
read and fun to look at
for sure? But you're
until I
basically
find
saying,
history. Until I find history that proves it, I'm not putting all my marbles in that basket.
how is this story so similar and accurate to its source material? It's essentially what you're asking, right? Like, that's, it's what you would expect. The lore is recreated, right? And the parts that are sourced and copied are the ones that appear to be prophecy when you're peering back through the past.
What if I told you that Egypt originally was a monotheistic uh, culture that believed in one God, which made man from the silt and breathed breath into his lungs? Was that God was also responsible for creating all of the lesser gods that come later on, and is responsible for putting the spirit, the soul, and the life into every baby that is born. Um, and by the way, he was the God of the living waters. Huh. Um, this was the original God of Egypt, and it's pre-dynasty. Now, if I am right, and I am like pretty fucking sure I'm right with the research that I've done on this one, the biblical figure of Joseph was in Egypt at the time of the third Pharaoh, Djoser. He built the first pyramid ever. It's the big step pyramid, right? So this was also the same time prior to Joseph being there, okay? And this would have been the son of Jacob, son of, you know, I mean, like this is real early in the stories, okay? Real early in the patriarchal line. At the time that Joseph goes into Egypt, it was still a monotheistic culture. It became polytheistic after. And that's according to their own history. This isn't, I'm not talking about when they reverted back later on and said, oh, we're only going to have one God, the sun God. No, I'm talking pre-Pharaoh dynasty. Okay. There was only one God in Egypt. And at the time that Joseph, the biblical patriarch, was in Egypt, it was a monotheistic culture. 1000%.
It doesn't surprise me on two levels. One, I would expect that all of this lore shares the same source material. That doesn't surprise me.
Sure.
And learning anything about the Egyptians wouldn't come as a surprise, because I understand that anthropology and archaeology includes a lot of guesswork, and so would not be surprised that we found out we were entirely wrong about a lot of our previous assumptions. I wouldn't even be surprised if 100 years from now they found out we were mistranslating everything. But you know what you need to do, Beth?
I'm sorry, Grid. I'm going esoteric. I'm so sorry. I drive him crazy when I do this.
You need to press play.
I do. I was waiting for OG because I know he wants to see this debate, but I guess he did see the beginning, so we can just, I guess, go ahead and start it.
What's he doing?
No, taking Tucker out, he said. But no, by the way, archaeology, it begins with guesswork, and then you have to find, it's just like any scientific method. Okay, you observe something, you form a hypothesis, then you test it, and then you retest it, and then you draw a conclusion. Archaeology works the same way. It's really no
minus
different.
one part.
Which part?
the most important part of science is the testability, also known as
I would disagree with
predictability.
that. I would disagree with that completely because let's say we're looking for like when the 10 plagues of Egypt occurred. Okay. We are going to say, okay, I think it happened here. The way that we test it is we start looking at the cultures in the surrounding areas. Did they document anything that's even remotely close to this? Did they document a people that migrated through their area headed in this direction? Yeah, there's all kinds of tests that you can still do.
That's not the same thing. If you
I would
create a
argue
science,
that
if you create a scientific theory, it has to be able to have predictability into the future. You have to be able to repeat your results.
yes,
Um,
and in order to repeat your results, you find one culture that says yes, we observed a storm that
that's
rained
verification.
hail and fire at the same
That's
time. And
corroboration.
then
That's not predictability.
I think that once you have enough collaboration, it starts becoming the exact testing that you're talking about.
It becomes more believable.
And that would be the test to see if this is something that possibly could
That's
have
not
happened.
the same thing as Einstein postulating before satellites even exist. Well,
No,
no,
you're
not
absolutely
before
right.
satellites
They're
existed, but
different. They're different in their own rights. I acknowledge that. Grid one is yelling squirrel at me.
well, are we waiting for OG though? Because
Grid
Tucker
will never.
taking Tucker out will take a little while.
If I keep talking about esoteric shit, poor Grid is never gonna get any sleep on that plane because he's gonna get so frustrated.
We're
He,
30 minutes
you know,
in.
next thing you know, he's gonna pop up here and go, "Stop giving us Hebrew words in translation."
I can't believe it's been 30 minutes already. You definitely
Let's
need
do
to
it.
start it up.
Yep, we're going right now. Ladies and
He
gentlemen.
debated Glenn.
No, I just went to where I was the closest. He
Oh,
debated
I got you.
Father Joseph.
Now this is a topic that we've seen
Oh, I
movies
recognize
made
that,
after.
dude.
Yeah, like God's not dead, right? You know, how important do you think this debate is? Not just for like
If I recall,
Well,
he
when
tried to
you have
fix
this
me on Glenn's
conversation.
channel.
Yeah?
Yeah, I can't. It's like a ringing a vague recollection. I'm not 100% sure.
I think he probably did because I think Glenn was the hookup to bring him in for debates. And yeah, he tried to fix flow.
For the audience, like, what is the message you're trying to get out to the audience with this?
I'm sorry, Grid. I'm sorry. You should learn to expect this kind of thing from me. I'm sorry, sir. But we're going to cover this phenomenal. Now that we have gotten through 30 minutes of ancient history with Beth, we are getting into this awesome debate feature. This was a headline debate at Gridcon yesterday, and damn, it was a good one. This priest is going to try to fix flow. Oh, Grid, I feel it in my bones. I felt it when he went. Let's see what happens. It's like a deer, okay? When you're hunting, you don't look them directly in the eyes because then they know you're coming for them.
I hope he goes Buddhist.
We'll probably bring up some of the histories.
What?
I hope he goes Buddhist just to mess with y'all.
So
I hope it shows in my opening statement. Basically, it's not about just answering a person as to whether God is real. I believe that it's been a fundamental underpinning, especially of the 20th century, that even though we have seen so many amazing things scientifically, etc., that what's also come with it is propaganda. And so effectively, while there's been a lot of amazing things that we've learned about the universe and about our world, it's also been put with
a big thank you to Texas Bully Mom for the $15 Cash App. Much appreciated, ma'am. We're very happy to bring you this content. Glad you can be with us to watch it.
Side of nihilism. So it's basically been, don't notice that. What you really need to focus on is the fact that you're a monkey and God, the God's not real. Sex and drugs and pleasure is all that matters. And so that's, I think, the underpinning mentality in the 20th century. We're seeing that change now in the 21st. And so I think it may be ambitious on my part, but I want to punch the whole mentality.
What do you think is like the biggest problem right now with like any type of Christian evangelist or apologist? Because I see a lot of like bashing of like, I get like destroying somebody's worldview, but I see it what approach like is like almost they're bashing them.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just like, how is that showing God's grace?
I don't think it is. And I would say that it is when you personalize it like that, you're really taking away from it. Because in the end, the source of all evil is reality.
Don't Buddhists have a thing about cows being sacred?
No, that's Hindu.
Hindu. Well, Grid says he won't go Buddhist because he likes eating animals.
Well, there's Buddhists that eat animals.
I think as long as
every religion will make an exception for you to eat grub on some animals, except for the Jains.
I think as long as he has his steak and cheeseburgers and things of that nature, he's a happy man.
Yeah.
And so if you're trying to make it all about that person, then what ends up happening is the message that there is a propagandization of humanity, or at least Western humanity, etc. I don't want to be too overly specific. The point is that people who believe in this stuff a lot of the time, and I hope Flo's not offended here, but I tend to see people like that as victims because they have been taught this. I mean, we learn it in our schools, we learn it in the media, we learn it in all of our, pop culture, etc.
Yeah. It's interesting because I've had many conversations with Flo about religion, and Flo will tell you this. I don't have to. I can say this, but he can speak for himself on this. He'll co-sign this. Like when it comes to talking about religion, he said like I'm one of the few people he actually enjoys talking about religion to or Christianity with because like it's my approach. It's like I'm not here to like shame them or like condemn them. I'm just telling them, hey, this is what I believe. This is what I think is in your best interest. You choose to do what you want to do. I'm not passing any judgment on you. That's not my place. Like I always go back to Genesis 3:16. God so loves the world, but everybody forgets Genesis 3:17. Where it says the Son of Man did not come here to judge the world, but to save the world. So like to me, it's like if Christ didn't come here to judge the world and he was sinless, who am I to judge the world and I'm sinful? Right? It's not my position. My position is to show the grace. And I think that's probably it's lost a lot in a lot of these like debate topics, like religion versus non-believers or this and that. Like, do you think that needs a change? Do you think there's a culture change around that?
I'm going to interrupt real quick. Grid, I really like Father Joseph, actually. It's nice to have a priest that's kind of, for lack of a better word, is like hip and Jesus. Sorry, motorcycles. He seems very easy to talk to for somebody, just a normal person who's exploring faith. And this was something I was saying from the get-go is there's a huge difference between faith and religion. And I think you have to start with faith before you start nailing down the religion part of it as far as which niche you're kind of moving into and adapting. If you start with faith, I think it's much easier. Any thoughts, Denizen, or anybody else?
No, this is going to be largely outside my purview. What's the prompt, by the way?
Is there a God?
Okay.
They get hung up, and it becomes a different. It's interesting.
Well, I think that definitely we need to have the conversation about what is proper
the sound
and
is
proper
much better
when
during
we
the
are
debate.
talking about evangelization. But like, so for example, if you remember the last debate I had with that guy with
on my show.
Yeah, but I want to make.
I think he's talking about you, Dan.
There was a point where I guess when he started flailing, where at one point he starts talking about like, well, if you don't recognize my marriage, that means we're all in fornication. But from my perspective, people have lost sight of Christ and have lost sight of even someone who claims to be a Christian of what is right and wrong.
Yeah.
The power of God itself. If you have lost sight of that, worrying about fornication seems like kind of misguided.
Yeah, it's like that's like something like you're missing the bigger picture here. All right, well, follow Joseph. I'm going to go ahead and send you over to Gibbs. You can bring you over there, and then I'll be interviewing Flo here in just a moment. I look forward to the debate, sir.
The prompt is God real? Thank you, Grid. Much appreciated.
My next debater is Flo State. I know he just stepped out, so here he is. He's coming. All right. How you doing, bro?
Good.
Ready for round 2?
Ready.
I really like
All right.
that.
So you just heard
wall.
Father Joseph. What do you think this debate's going to be about? Because I said him is like, hey, how do you this is a bigger message than just him talking to you, right? You have a whole audience, right?
Right.
And really, you're in a position of you're asking questions for people that are confused about religion, right? Like people that may want to believe, but they're just not there yet. Like, do you feel like the pressure, like you're kind of asking the right questions, like you need to challenge them with the right questions so they get the people's answers for them, like they can determine their own faith?
No, not really. I don't feel any responsibility or obligation to or for other people's spirituality. I actually, that's part of my issue with organized religion entirely, is that I think that it steps into, it moves out, men moving out of their lane.
Mm-hmm.
And so I hope that I ask the right questions and that people come away with new information, but I don't really feel like that's my burden. If I whiff the ball,
Yeah.
then it's
Is your position like more like, hey, prove to me God is real, right? Or is it like, help me understand more?
It's more of a challenge of if you guys have a belief, and even though I know that you say it's not judgmental necessarily, and this is true of all religions, not just Christianity. If you believe that God is going to choose you to keep, but everybody else to scrap for parts, basically, that's a superiority position. I want to challenge that and say, okay, do you have actually a reason to feel that?
Well, what if I said it's not me judging you? Because I don't have the power to judge you on that, right? Like, it's not I can't judge where you're.
Well, you think that if you believe that God will choose to scrap me, that's still your.
No, that's not me. Like, I don't know what God's gonna do.
Do you believe in hell?
Yeah, because the Bible says, like, it says you'll be surprised who you'll see in heaven. So I always say, like, oh, if I'm gonna be surprised what I see in heaven, Hitler might be up there. I thought maybe Hitler might be in hell.
Right.
So Hitler could be in heaven. How do I know who's gonna be in heaven? It's not my place to judge who's gonna go to heaven, who's not gonna go to heaven. Like, to me, like, that's always a God decision. And it's not mine to even.
Biblical principle.
It's out of my.
Which is sort of a cop out.
It's above my pay grade, bro. It's above my
Not a
pay
cop
grade.
out. It's a biblical
Like, I mean,
principle.
if David could like have an affair with Bathsheba, murder Uriah, and God still call him a man after his own heart, like, I haven't murdered nobody, and
I'm not going to press it right.
But I think that, like, you have a very interesting position, and I really look forward to like you like asking him these questions to kind of like. Not necessarily gotcha questions, but asking him the tough questions.
I feel like something about me that's different from other people who would argue from my point is that a lot of atheists have a grudge, right? They were raised in Christianity, and it affected them negatively in some way. I don't really have a grudge. I like Christians. I think that they're, like I said earlier.
Hold on. Can you say that again?
I don't have a grudge against Christianity.
Oh, because the rumor is that you hate Christians.
Who spread that?
Oh, those guys are like this.
Oh yeah, little guy. He owes me $100.
All right, so I'm gonna send you over there to Gibbs. Get ready for the final debate. Good luck.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you later. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go back to Gibbs at the main event. This is the finale, the final debate.
Because
and if you are still here,
wrong one. I'm on the wrong screen.
Make sure you come see me and get your phone.
All right, I'm gonna fast forward, and unfortunately, Father Joseph, his mic wasn't on for the first bit of his intro, so he's really hard to hear. But we'll give it a try and see how much we can pick up. Mikey Balls, good to see you, sir. Welcome, and Vividness, man, I appreciate you.
barring depending on super chat, volume. All right, any questions from y'all? All right, it's time for a we got Father Joseph versus the Father. That's the AK state for if there is a God, does God exist? All right, I'm ready. Who is going to be our affirmative? I'm assuming you are. All right, whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Yeah, see. I'm going to skip ahead a bit here. Not a lot, but just some to hopefully try to get to where we can hear him.
We make claims kind of collaboration. Everyone here has a cell. Your cell phone uses GPS. Microsoft Vision or based on gravity. The technology in your pocket relies on the fact that our universe runs on precise laws. And the most fundamental of those, the expansion rate of space itself, what is called the cosmological constant, or random, is to a degree of precision.
Big thank you for the donor that just came in. As soon as I can get Val over here, we'll have her give a nice, great big love to you. And in the meantime, everybody can have a good giggle at my new favorite clip that I'm going to be using a whole lot more because I think it's hilarious. Thank you very much. I appreciate the love, for real.
That's actually 10 to the 120 pounds, so 10 with 120 right now. If that universe were different by even one part, the universe would have either blown apart before stars could form, or even collapsed on itself entirely. That number is so large, it exceeds the number of atoms in the entire observable universe. It's a bullseye on the dark side of the spectrum, a mile away. But it doesn't stop. The strongest.
Sorry, my kid just got home. Damn it, I'm still on the wrong screen again. There we go.
Stronger than 5.5%, all hydrogen burns away instantly, meaning no water, no stars, no life, no you. Let's look at the carbon atom itself. An atheist astronomer named Fred Hoyle calculated that the energy level inside a carbon atom had to be precisely 7.65 million electron volts for stars to look up carbon. If it were off by a fraction of a percent, you wouldn't be sitting in this room. Hoyle looked at the math and said it was a put-up job, that a super intellect had monkeyed with physics. Now, my opponent and his fellow skeptics will hear these numbers that frankly make a lottery win look like a sure thing, and they'll shrug. They'll talk about epistemic uncertainty. They'll say we only have one universe. We don't know the probabilities. Maybe it's a random roll of the dice. But let's be honest about what that is. If you walked into a cave and found a fully functioning laptop plugged into a rock, glowing and running code, you wouldn't say, well, we only have one cave. We don't know the probability distribution of rocks. Maybe infinite tectonic plates over infinite time accidentally manufactured an Apple MacBook. Realistically, you'd look for the programmer. To avoid the programmer, the modern atheist has to invent a number of invisible, unobservable universes, for example, a multiverse, just so that they can claim we happen to win a cosmic lottery. They're willing to believe in infinite fairy tale dimensions rather than simply bow the knee to the creator. Perhaps my opponent likes this in a place of uncertainty, because uncertainty lets us off the hook. If you're uncertain, you don't have to obey. You don't have to repent.
Grid, I got this for you. So, guys, because of the way the setup was, they had to mute sections when they weren't being used. It's not a big deal. They also had to kind of move things because Father Joseph is a huge guy, probably a Nephilim. Shh. Anyways, I'm kidding. I'm sorry, Grid. I'm sorry. I've been up all night. I'm a little silly today. Father Joseph didn't know he had to push a button and turn his mic on. Shit happens. It's all good. We still got a great debate out of it. But that's what happened.
You don't have to recognize that your life is not your own. But the universe is not uncertain. The math is not uncertain. The moral law written on our hearts is not uncertain. We are blessed to live in an era where science itself has shown us evidence of the impossibility of the randomness of creation. In any other era besides the 20th century, such discoveries would have packed churches and had countless people drop to their knees in awe, repentance, and gratitude to their creator. Unfortunately, the 20th century also came with propaganda for atheism, materialism, and spiritual sloth, even as modern science discovered the evidence of a creator who wants us to find him. You are standing in a temple built by God. You can pretend the blueprints to your bodies through themselves, or you can look at the evidence, drop the pretense, and acknowledge the architect. God is real. Choose this day whom you will serve.
All right. Thank you so much. And tell everybody who you are and where to find you, by the way.
My name is Father Joseph Swaden, YouTube channel NFTU, or you can go to my website, nftu.net.
Thank you so much. How to Dust the AK Flow State. Go ahead.
Thank you. My objective here is not to prove a negative. I can't prove that God doesn't exist, and I'm not going to try to. What I can do is demonstrate that organized religion specifically is presenting lies to people, and I would like to challenge some of the things that it claims. I'd also claim that, or point out that Jesus, I believe, would be agnostic. I think that God made us with limits to knowledge. We don't know everything, and if you have faith in God, you have to acknowledge that that's the way that God designed us. That's on purpose. Our attempts to back the things that we don't know, that we were not created to know, and claim to have knowledge that we don't, that not only doesn't get us closer to truth, it actually is us living a lie, which again is against Christianity. So I absolutely believe that Jesus would be an agnostic and would say that that's what you should be. After all, he was put to death by organized religious institutions. Another thing,
That's right there is where I would argue with Dusty and point out you are talking faith versus religion, and they're two different things. Done.
Well, he is going after organized religion.
Sure. Well, but the
I
prompt
haven't seen
is,
him conflate it with faith yet.
well, he just did. He's saying Jesus would be agnostic, which means agnostics, tell me if I'm right, they think that it's very possible that there's something greater than, but they're just not sure quite what it is they believe in, or like what God would be. And then he references the fact that, after all, Jesus was put to death by organized religion. Well, the organized religion is completely separate from the faith. Jesus could be completely believing in God and still denounce organized religion, and there's no problem with that.
I still only see him attacking the organized religion part of it. Because again, like, he's saying Jesus wouldn't be a member of a church, and it was the church that killed him.
Right.
So F church, L church, right? That's the argument so far.
No, the argument goes back deeper than that, because the prompt is God real? So he's saying, if Jesus, I don't even know why he's bringing up Jesus within the argument, other than to attack organized religion, but that is separate from the prompt. And this is where I think he got a little in the weeds, because if he was focused on, is God real, and the proof for God, you don't even necessarily have to touch Jesus. You can keep straight on creation, the fact that it's really hard to say that the fact that we're all here and we keep traveling around the sun and horrible things don't happen to us is coincidental. It's too perfect to be coincidental. You know what I'm saying?
This is his reframing of the debate, though. He said it out loud. He can't prove a negative, so
Yes.
he's just going to hammer on his views, which is organized religion is full of shit. So, I mean, if you're gonna go full debate, bro, I guess he already lost, and we don't need to watch the rest of this. But
I like where they take it. They still
I
manage
think
to
it's
turn
more,
it.
yeah, I think it's more interesting that that I presume the father dude is gonna make a case that God is real, and Flo is going to shit on the promised lies and promises of organized religion.
Actually, like I said, they get a little hung up early in. Yes, Chuck, he is a real Orthodox priest. Real Orthodox.
Goddamn.
Yeah. They brought out the big guns for this one.
A pun not
thing
intended.
that I want to challenge is the idea that we are fallen and need redemption at all. If you believe that God created the whole universe, which I assume that you do, and if you believe that God is perfect, which I assume that you do, then everything that happens here must be perfect. It must be the way that he designed it. If he didn't want the devil tempting us, if he didn't want sin, he could stop that, or he wouldn't have created it in the first place. These things can't manifest themselves in a universe that was created entirely by one perfect God who only made perfection. As far as the claim that atheists want to choose that position so that they're off the hook for their behavior, and that it's a way of escaping being culpable for immorality, that's just completely unnecessary. Christianity also allows that. Jesus came to forgive all sins. All you've got to do is believe in him before you die. So as long as you just do an apology before you die, you're already good. So it would be unnecessary to choose this position to let myself off the hook. And as far as the cell phone example, science, the fact that our finite brains are amazed by the universe around us doesn't do anything to prove God. All it does is prove out that we are finite beings, which I would never deny. So, seeing that, being amazed at the world around us, and then concluding that must mean that a God created it, that took a lot of turf there to get to that conclusion. The claim that we're not animals, that we're not just animals, or that we're not just from random chance, I agree. It seems seems improbable. However, I'm not presenting that as a talking point. And again, the claim that we're not those things, you can't demonstrate that either. You're just appealing to human hubris to say that, oh, we're not just animals. Well, we are actually animals, right? We're the peak of animals, but we are biological organisms that live on this planet, reproduce, and then die.
And we're in the animal kingdom.
And I'm done there.
Oh, all right. Well, cool. Thank you so much. All right, guys. So once again, guys, if y'all want to get your super chats in, get them now. We're going to go to an open period and have them go debate. But if you want super chats, you want questions read, you have comments, make sure you send us money. We will make those questions happen here, and we'll get these answers from our participants. All right.
Is a hoot to hang out with.
Okay, well, that was a very interesting opening. You started by pointing out you cannot prove that God does not exist.
Correct. You can't prove a negative.
And, well, even if you can't prove a negative, if you cannot prove that God does not exist, which I assume you can make an affirmative case for God not existing, but you can't do that, you've ceded the premise of the debate. I can say that there's good reason to not believe in the Christian God existing. I can't wait to hear it. Okay. But the ones you gave so far don't quite qualify. Okay. You said Jesus was an agnostic. Jesus famously called God his father. Now, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure my father exists. So the idea that, and if he didn't say that, and I should make clear, if we take the scriptures in context there, it's not really a debate about Christianity. I mean, we can debate that now if you're already ceding that God does exist. But the
I
point
have
is,
not succeeded that at all.
okay. Well, the point is that not only did he say God is my father and that I and my father are one, but when he said it, they were so shocked about blasphemy because they weren't agnostic. They were strict believers in Judaism. They picked up stones to kill him. They don't do that to people who don't seem like they're serious about what they're saying.
The religious institutions did. He was speaking out against organized religion.
No, he wasn't. You can't. If there was the only other religious organization he speaks about besides the Jews, are the Samaritans. And all he says is there's going to be a period where people do not worship on this mountain nor on Mount Horeb. The whole point is that Christ is establishing that true belief, mind you, will spread throughout the world. And that each person being a temple of the Holy Spirit, therefore acts as, in the future, a replacement for that temple that will disappear.
Do you think that we are? Why would God make us without knowledge if we were supposed to have knowledge there?
Well, it depends on what you mean by make us without knowledge.
Well, if the key to getting into heaven is that we believe in God, but
I gotta interrupt for a minute. D, you're here. This is my midget cat, Bailey. She was, I told everybody before, when we got her, she was very sick and a tiny little kitten. And we got her all better, and then she just stopped growing. She's 5 years old and itty bitty. She's just as lovable as Valkyrie, but she's more of like the boss bitch of this household, aren't ya? Yeah. Little cat, big attitude, but loves to snuggle. Had to show her just for you. Sorry. I'm kind of with Dusty on the idea that Jesus was challenging the religious institution, which was the Pharisees and the Sadducees, right? How familiar are you with that whole story and that whole situation, Denizen?
What situation?
When Jesus challenges the Sadducees and the Pharisees.
The turning of the tables?
That's part of it, yes.
Yeah, and they like try to get him to admit to breaking the law, and he says something like, "That's not my problem. I am the right part."
He calls them out for their corruption, right? They're not supposed to be changing money in the temple. They're not supposed, they're defiling the temple essentially and kind of making their own rules to go in addition to what God's law is. And everything has kind of gone by the wayside. Like everything that he did in defiance of them was literally like worthy of the death penalty, to the point that they actually tried to stone him. And a lot of people don't know this. Like, he did the equivalent of cussing them out publicly right before Passover, just outside the temple when it was very, very busy. And the rabbis actually picked up rocks and fucking threw them at him and absolutely attempted to stone him. I think that in order to have that kind of conviction where you know that what you're saying is an automatic death sentence, I think that lends weight to Father Joseph's side that, there is a God. But then on the same note, I agree with Dusty that he was definitely challenging the religious institutes of that time. Steelman, was it I'm pretty sure it was Sadducees and Pharisees that were throwing rocks at him. I'll go look it up while the debate's going on.
Press play.
Yes, press and play. I'm looking
God
it
is
up.
hidden the whole time, and we don't actually know it. Remember anything before, I don't know, we're 5 or something, right? How does that make sense? That this is the requirements to get into heaven. However, I'm not equipping you with the things that you would need in order to actually know that.
Well, Flo said, that's part of the reason why I specifically started in the beginning with the heavens declaring the glory of God.
That's just a claim that
let me finish. The point is this: that when a child, before they get, you can argue with religious indoctrination, etc., they have a sense of wonder towards things like the ocean, towards things like trees, towards creation itself, towards different kinds of animals. That wonder is the tool that lets us understand the glory of God. And that wonder is beaten out of us systematically by our secular educational institutions, by underlying belief systems of those who market to us, because
Bullshit.
ultimately a believer is somebody who cannot be swayed by pure consumerism. And
can't be persuaded by pure consumerism. Go ahead, give me your thoughts. I want to hear what you're thinking.
Secularism does not take the wonder out of nature. That's absurdity. It adds to the wonder. It builds and displays and promotes the complexity and the uniqueness of nature. It doesn't take away the wonder, it adds to it.
More so than religion does, or like faith does. I want to stick with using faith and not so
Absolutely.
much religion.
Absolutely, because if the man in the sky made everything, that's far less impressive than the actual true story of the wonder of nature, which is scarcity changing into abundance. Literal chemical bonds that, without any consciousness, being drawn to one another in order to form more complex bonds, and then networks of bonds drawn and repelled to one another to form systems, and those systems becoming cells, and cells becoming neurons, and then intention is born. I mean, this is a much better story than on the first day, on the second day. Poof, poof, click, double click, unzip, run.exe.
So are you saying that science and faith are or will always stay, several degrees of separation apart?
No,
work
I think science and faith are trying to answer the same questions, and that's why that one will eventually erode the other. However, no offense for how I'm about to say this, but you monkeys do seem to love your god, so I suppose you'll always create a space for it in your heart, and I don't want to take your toys away, so knock yourselves out.
To play devil's advocate, people of faith can often make good marks for manipulation, taking advantage of them. I mean, the way we are taught when it comes down to scripture, it's interesting. I don't remember who I heard talking about this, but it made so much sense. It's almost like a socialist civilization put right up, like this is how to do it. Like at one point Jesus, like the Roman soldiers stop him on the road, and there's a law at that point where the Roman soldiers who are occupying Israel can stop any Israeli citizen and demand that they carry their gear for up to 1 mile. Okay, literally, this was a fucking law as part of the occupation. Well, Roman soldiers stopped Jesus and the apostles on the road, and the apostles are all like, and Jesus is like, not only are we going to carry him 1 mile, we're going to carry him 2, and we're going to do it joyfully. And it changes, it certainly has an impact on how they deal with one another by the end of that walk. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of it does turn out to be almost socialistic in a lot of ways. So even were faith not real, there's utility in keeping it around, right? That was very disjointed. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, kinda for some people.
You think, well, the predators rule the land, right? Like
Yes.
the wolves will always rule over the sheep. The lion will always rule over the gazelles. Therefore,
I don't know, but it
those
appear to be that way right now.
it,
It does appear to be that way now.
ooh, you broke up really bad, homie.
Is it crackling?
Nope, you're better now. Like all of a sudden it just like glitched out for a second. I'm just saying it would
does
make
seem to be that way right now. I don't know about always though.
I would argue that even at the very least, it makes it can set up society if used correctly by the right kind of people who unfortunately we know exist. Yes, Squirrel. I'm sorry, Grid. Thank you, Grid. Push the
whole
button.
point of what society or what these vectors in society want is to turn us into consumerist tools. If we have no place for God that gives us meaning, we will search for that meaning someplace else. And that's when we can give you commercials that'll tell you the meaning is in the next thing you purchase.
I would suggest that Christianity also wants people to be consumers, except they don't really provide them with tangible goods as a result. They instill guilt in them, and then they profit off the back end. I believe the Catholic Church is the richest institution on earth, right? Christianity has a long history, and all religions do, of being, let's say, financially, maybe abusive is too strong of a word, but definitely profiting from the religious doctrine that they instill in people. Now, as far as children with their sense of wonder, when we're young, from like before 5, our brains are actually in a different brainwave state where we're not. It's almost a dream state. We don't think critically. That's why we're just absorbing the world around us and learning about things. So if you're telling somebody that they need to engage a mindset that they had before they were old enough to engage critical thinking, that in and of itself is a suspicious
But what
thing
I'm
to hold up.
saying is, what I'm saying isn't that they shouldn't be critical. What I'm saying is that the current systems that are in place to make them critical actually give them blind spots that they don't usually notice, so that they develop a skewed philosophy. If you've ever worked in horticulture, you know that when you are trying to keep a plant straight, sometimes you have to support it to make sure it does. And if you don't do that, that plant will die. Because it needs that side support. It's the same thing with education. If you purposely know that kids, if given certain things and not given other things, will default to consumerism, etc., to materialism, unfortunately, that's not the kid breaking, that's people breaking the kid. And so my point is that what we need to do, and I mean, we can talk about whether religion is a tool to manipulate, but I would argue that politics has largely taken over that role. It's not better, it's actually worse. Almost everything we've presented as a substitute for God, whether it's psychiatry, whether it's politics, whether it's consumerism, whether it's pornography, whatever it is becomes addictive enough, because even religious belief fits qualifications that we would call addictive. But each one of those is addictive enough to destroy people, and often does. There's no religious addicts anonymous, because it's not a disease. It helps people. But now we could argue that certain religions do bad things. I'll be the first to tell you, for example, that the Catholic Church has a lot of priests, because of the celibacy rules, who end up in homosexuality and end up in abusing children. But let me flip that around on you for just a moment.
Mm-hmm.
What system has even more pederasts than the Roman Catholic Church by 10 times over?
The school system.
That's right. So the point is, are we gonna, if we're looking for the real targets as to who the bad guys are, and it turns out that the bad guys are the kids teaching us God's not real, you monkey, sex good, and meanwhile we're going after the Catholic priest, maybe something's gone a little wrong there, and maybe we've done things a little incorrectly.
Well, that illustrates is that predators go where the prey is.
But then why aren't we arresting them in the right places?
Well,
Like,
we do. Teachers are getting arrested constantly.
Not nearly as much. Now they are because of the age of the internet. And priests have already been, like, the Catholic Church's name is garbage now.
Yeah.
So the point is, if the Catholic Church, if the teachers union got the reputation of the Catholic Church, half this country would be homeschooled or more.
And I'm not going to stand up for teachers unions. I think they're trash. I agree with you. I think that they need more scrutiny than they're getting. But
what about the entertainment industry? How many kids does that spit out?
But this is all whataboutism. You're saying that the church is better than Hollywood.
Pure whataboutism.
That's a low hurdle.
Right, but you're also saying that the church is what we should focus on, when in fact even bigger sets of predators.
You're muted.
Motorcycles keep going by, so I mute up because I don't know how loud it is. I don't want to never mind. I forgot what I was gonna. Never mind. Sorry.
Predators that are all around us are not worthy of even paying attention.
Again, we're back to whataboutism. These are worse predators. I'll agree with you. Actually, I think that the church is a better institution than the public school system, or than Hollywood. I agree with that. But
okay, well, again, I understand if you want to distinguish between the Roman Catholic Church or other churches, etc. But the point is, you can't broad brush religion as the bad guy, when in reality there's loads of bad guys.
There are lots of bad guys.
And if we're really concerned about the little ones who stumble, who was the first person who talked about how we should punish child molesters? I'm pretty sure that would be Jesus Christ, who said, if anyone should let these little ones stumble, we should take a millstone, hang it around their neck, and throw them into the sea. The only sin in the entire scriptures where Jesus Christ literally says you got to kill the guy is molesting children. So the point is that when we are talking about this, there's a standard of sin in the New Testament. And this is something that I tried to make a point, and you kind of said in your intro, well, all you have to do is say sorry before the end. That's the deathbed confession hypothesis. I don't even think most Protestants believe that, because a lot of the time they'll say that while that's possible, that there's some sort of need for progress after sanctification, after salvation, which I, of course, Orthodox believe you have to be baptized, so on and so forth. But I think I'd be misrepresenting Protestants to say, oh yeah, just say sorry at the end. That's what they believe, and that's what I think a lot of Protestants would just.
And you can correct me where I'm wrong. If I recall correctly, Jesus' own words are, to get into heaven, you have to follow him or believe it. Something that.
You see,
right?
You said it. You said it. Whether you realize that you were going to say, didn't Jesus say, if anyone believe in me, that's enough? But then you said, follow me.
Okay.
Following is a lifelong work that we have to do to change our lives. Jesus doesn't call us just, hey guys, believe in me and you'll be fine. He calls us to repent. Repentance, metanoia. The Greek metanoia literally means a turning around. And the point is, we are supposed to turn from our fallen. And the reason why we do that is because in the end, our turning around towards the creator of us, of everything, brings us to union with the creation of the universe. We find our place. Like I know that you mentioned, for example, that the constants are interesting to us finite beings. I think you may have missed my point. The cosmological constant is such that if you alter it by one, what happens is this: if it's the rate of expansion of the universe is what the constant is. If you're off by one, what will end up happening is there is not enough gravity to keep atoms together. The Earth and all planets will collapse on itself. And if it's one over, then there will be too much energy, and then nothing can come together. It literally, we would collapse into goo.
Also
So-
amazing.
So the whole point is that these things are not just cool things to us. If it was not exactly that, and that number is higher than winning the Powerball, assuming the Powerball is not corrupted, 28 times in a row. 28 times in a row. And that's the constant that maintains our universe.
Okay. So take the steps. Take me then to how you conclude that means that God exists.
I'm pausing it for just a second. I think I kind of noticed. Don't worry, Greta. I'm gonna keep it brief. I think the big thing with Dusty is he gets distracted by the parts of religion that he wants to poke really hard because he takes issue with them. You know what I mean? And I think that is pulling him away from actually arguing the prompt. What do you think? Den?
Yeah.
You didn't hear what I did.
I still think that he's just picking apart false promises and bad teachings of organized religion. And there was a lot of whataboutism. I get that, like, we're not having a is there a God debate. I don't, I leave that to the debate bros to decide, like, what that means. As far as, like, who won and who didn't.
Yeah. I'm just kind of speaking to, like, a little bit of, like, what I see from him. Because, he gets pulled off. Kind of like how I keep getting distracted. And I'm going to take a quick second. And yes, Grid, I will play your clip. I've got it pulled up. I'll play Grid's clip real quick. That he says is so Beth. It's so me. Squirrel scenes from the movie Up. See, my kids were too old when Up came out, and I have not gotten to see the movie yet. Just because you watch what your kids watch, and my kids were too old. All right, okay, Grid. He says, "It's so you." Okay, I'm nervous.
We have your dog.
Whoa.
Wonder who he belongs to.
Sit, boy. Hey, look, he's trained. Shake. Uh-huh. Speak.
Hi there. Did that dog say hi there?
Oh, yes.
Brad!
My name is Doug. I have just met you, and I love you.
What?
My master made me. Good and smart master, and he made me this collar so that I may talk. Squirrel! My master is good and smart.
It's not possible.
Oh, it is because my master is smart.
Cool. What do these do, boy?
Would you could acuerdo contigo? I use that collar. Watashi wa hanashima. To talk with, I would be happy if you stop.
Oh, here it is. I picked up the bird's stand. Wait a minute. What is this? Chocolate. I smell chocolate. I'm getting prunes and denture cream. Who are they? Oh, man, Master will not be pleased. We better tell him someone took the bird, right, Alpha?
No. Soon enough, the bird will be ours yet again. I'm the scent, my compadres, and you too shall have much rewardings from Master for the toil factor you wage.
Hey, Alpha, I think there's something wrong with your collar. You must have bumped it. Yeah, your voice sounds funny.
Beta, Gamma. Mayhaps you desired... Squirrel! Mayhaps you desire to challenge the ranking that I have been assigned by my strength and cunning.
No. But maybe Doug would. You might want to ask him.
Yeah. I wonder if he's found the bird on his very special mission.
Do not mention Doug to me at this time. His fool's errand will keep him most occupied indeed. Do you not agree with that which I am saying to you now?
Sure, but the second master finds out you sent Doug out by himself, none of us will get a treat.
You are wise, my trusted lieutenant. This is Alpha calling Doug. Come in, Doug.
Hi, Alpha. Hey, your always sounds funny.
I know. Have you seen the bird?
Why, yes, the bird is my prisoner now.
Yeah, right.
Impossible. Where are you?
I am here with the bird, and I will bring it back, and then you will like me. Oh, gotta go.
Hey, dog. Who are you talking to? Oh, wait.
What's the doing? Why is he with that small mailman? Where are they?
There he is. Come on.
In there. No. Love you too, Grid. Oh my gosh. Okay, back to the debate. Damn it, OG. Oh, where he is. I'm gonna text him and yell at him.
How if again,
all you described is you just described your amazement again, and that was my point. Is that it's fine to me, like it is amazing. I'll give you that, but that doesn't lead to necessarily the conclusion.
let
that
me
you
ask you
draw.
a question.
Sure.
Because there is a non-zero possibility that a quantum event could occur under your seat and the chair behind you could simply collapse into nothing. That's a higher possibility than the cosmological constant. Did you sit down doubting perhaps that the chair would work?
I don't know.
Right. So the point is, there's a level of credulity.
I had some doubts my chair was going to work. I'm gonna be honest. I had that big concern the whole day.
Me too.
Yeah,
Not
real concern.
for the reasons I mentioned, guys. That's just because we're not healthy.
Yeah, that's something. That's probably a lot to do with it. But let's leave it here for that.
So the point is that we make general assumptions about reality all the time. And this is not something that we can make a general assumption about. If that number is off by 1, this has been scientifically tested in the 20th century. The cosmological constant won't work. GPS, for example, if that number was off by 1, wouldn't work. The Mars rover, are you familiar with the Mars rover?
Yeah.
The calculations required to send the Mars rover into space autonomously require that constant. If it's off by 1, no Mars rover, doesn't go anywhere. So the point I'm trying to make is, if you're trying to establish that you lack sufficient probability for things that have been proven to work versus establishing that nothing's certain when you're dealing with, frankly, billions of uncertainties all over us, then eventually the standard starts looking weird. If you find a Rembrandt in a cave, you can't just sit there. No sane person sits there and goes, I wonder how the paint particles got together.
Right, but we know what
Like,
a painting. But we know what a painting is, right? We've got tons of examples of other paintings.
That's exactly my point.
But none of us have seen the formation of any universe ever. And just like an ant, you would not expect an ant to be able to understand calculus. It just can't do it. That doesn't mean calculus isn't a thing that is demonstrated in the universe. That means that the ant doesn't have the capacity to understand it because it's a frickin' ant. We're ants on that scale. I think that whatever caused Earth, or maybe it was here forever. I don't know. I think that we may not even have the capacity to understand it.
Wait, hold on. You believe that Earth creation was permanent? That's steady state thinking. By the way, that's discarded theory. That's
okay.
Like scientifically, that's garbage.
My point is it's our human hubris that makes us think that we do know or could know, and then insist on filling in the gaps. It's psychologically uncomfortable to have unknown
That's
answers.
such a beautiful dude. The ant argument was one me and him had a while back.
You had the same one with him?
Yeah, that was. He asked me what I believed, and I told him. I said I feel like I should have as much opinion about God, and God should care as much about my opinion as I do about an ant on the sidewalk in front of my house. Do I have an infinite amount of power capable of destroying the ant's universe? Yes. Do I care? No. So does the ant's prayers do anything? No.
Well,
I have as much say as that ant does about me. That was kind of the way I approached it.
So do you think that all right, so the idea then would be that we would be gods in the eyes of ants.
If you're gonna hold an analogy of a great sky daddy, yeah.
Pretty close, except I don't know. I think there's
Might not that ant think that I created the universe after witnessing me stepping on one of his brethren? I mean, I don't know. I'm just guessing here, but it seems fairly fucking significant.
it honestly, even if you ascribe to like the Nephilim stories, right?
You'll notice
this is-
oh boy ain't got shit to say about that ant. He skips right over the top of all that, goes right back to the solid state, steady state shit.
you get the same parallel with the Nephilim story in the sense that the Watchers, who were the fathers of the Nephilim, right, were all fallen angels, and when humans interacted with them, they elevated them to the status of gods, lowercase g, just because, I mean, their abilities were superhuman. You know, they were beyond our own capacity. So I could see how an ant would potentially view it the same way, but I think we're almost too tangible to qualify. I don't know. I've been streaming for 20 hours at this point, so my input's going to start getting a little limited because Grid's going to keep yelling squirrel at me.
Yeah, I'm
It's funny though.
I've got one coming up here in what is it, an hour? No, 2 hours and 30 minutes or so. So I'll probably bounce out a little bit before that goes off.
I appreciate you being here. Shadow, I've sent out the link. I actually posted it in his Discord. And Vibe's a good friend of mine. I would think he would reach out to me. But he's also traveling right now. So, yes, Shintai, click play, click
psychologically uncomfortable for people who don't want to accept any evidence. I've pointed to three different kinds of physical evidence that exists based on scientific concepts. I can point to another 10.
But none of it was evidence for God. All it was they were all, it was mathematical improbabilities. They're
all of it's evidence for a creator. It is impossible for any of that stuff to happen randomly at all.
It's not.
And how do you prove it?
Well, let me ask this. So, okay, so you see the argument against Christian God. I guess what he's kind of arguing is that basically, I guess, like the Sims or like the theory that, like, you know, any significant level of science is like high enough to be magic and it's essentially a god. Like kind of like maybe train of thought, but not quite. Like, do you disagree with like the creator concept, like as a whole, Dusty? Like there's no possible way. Maybe like we're like in the Matrix or something, and that's basically God.
So
Right.
I personally am agnostic. I'm not atheist. I believe that atheism is also a religious belief because it's something that you don't know and you can't prove, and you're filling in the gaps, right? I think that the only intellectually honest position is agnosticism, because we don't know what we don't know. I believe that.
But what about what we do know?
Well, hold on, just real quick. I just want to like clarify real quick. So, like, say, like, I don't know, like,
for the sake of pushback and some additional input. Okay, putting the link out. There's only one person I want to come up. All right. God help me. Steelman, can you control yourself? And like, I want to get through this and then we can talk about it all you want. But I want to get through the whole debate. Sound good? Like, so limited shit from both of us so that Grid's not yelling squirrel at me. Good? I'm gonna assume it's a yes. And
I don't know if it's just Stargate, but say the Asgard had made, you know, humans. Would that be like enough for you to be like, there's a god, like those are gods?
Who made humans?
I don't know. The Greys, you know, the aliens or something. Would that be a god, or would you just be like, no, those are species that are just advanced? Or would like, or is it essentially?
I mean, I don't think that they've. I mean,
they don't fit the concept.
They don't fit the concept, right?
Okay.
I think that I'm specifically talking about a single creator entity that created everything and is all good and all knowing, right? So I assume that that's the Abrahamic for all the Abrahamic religions, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't even established that standard. I haven't even established all good or all knowing. I've just established that there is a creator because of the evidence of its design.
An absence of explanation is not evidence of your conclusion. You don't know.
It's not an absence of explanation. I'm the one providing the math, buddy.
I know, but like again, I'll say this again: a mathematical improbability does not conclude that therefore it had to be God.
Okay, but you accept that mathematical improbability
Yes.
for walking around and
Yes.
doing everything
There
you do
are
in your daily life.
there are lots of amazing improbable things. Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
I'm with
when
you
we
there.
when we get to the level of something that is a universal standard, without which our universe would literally collapse on itself, and it has a numerical standard higher than winning the Powerball 28 times in a row.
Right.
You're saying that's uncertain.
What I'm doing is I'm agreeing with you that we're observing a
That is
phenomenon
literal
that's improbable. Right? I agree with you.
That's what, Sass?
That is literally uncertainty. What he's saying is it is so improbable for the universe to exist in the framework it exists in that there must be a creator that set it in motion to exist this way. And I say that is the literal definition of uncertainty. You do not have a proof in that. You have a proof of absence. And absence of evidence is not evidence of absence.
I think it's more of an argument that there comes a point where coincidence is just overpowered and stomped out, right?
There isn't. That's the thing. That's why one of the questions I ask people, one of the very first questions I ask people when I meet them, and I'm sure I've asked you, do you believe in coincidence? People who do not believe in coincidence are unreasonable. They, generally speaking, cannot take on new information in order to form a new framework of their reality, because everything has a purpose and was set in motion for a reason, and he's cracked the code in almost every case.
So listen, you can still believe in coincidence and also say the fact that the Earth has been in this spot following the same track that keeps us in the most perfect spot, that we are the only planet that supports life in the fucking universe. But the thing is, the tiniest shift off of that and there would be no more life. We would not be able to exist. Okay. The fact that it stays.
I can sit here and quote you 10,000 absolutely unbelievable, unreasonable, non-zero improbabilities, right? The moon happening to be exactly the right distance away from the Earth so that it covers the sun. That is exactly the right distance from the Earth so that only the Coriolis is actually available when a full eclipse takes place. That's fucking wild mathematics, bro. That is crazy. The only time in Earth's entire history that is true is now and will never be true again. It was not true before. That is wild mathematics, but it's also true. And they're sitting there staring at it.
It's not I would be willing to, let's say for the sake of argument, I'll grant that it was a total coincidence that we ended up in the spot that we started off in that was able to support life. The fact that we maintain that sweet spot so perfectly while every other planet is getting bombarded with asteroids and knocked and changed and goes through, we are the most consistent planet.
Oh shit, it's not Sunday, is it? I gotta go.
Oh,
I'm sorry. The show is at 6, not at 8. And I'm like, I got like 20 minutes.
Okay.
Some stuff up.
Have a good one. Thanks for coming.
Get you down, and don't let Scott Eddie poop on your head.
I'm not scared of him. Wait, I think. I don't know. We might not be talking about the same people. Okay. Well, back to the. Are you still there, Denizen?
Yes.
Are you falling asleep?
I'm wondering if this is going to become more interesting.
If you're bored and you want to go, that's fine. I understand.
No, I'm not doing anything else.
Okay. Thanks. I appreciate you.
It's amazing. It's
It's
improbable.
beyond.
It's super improbable. Now that we've both observed this thing and we agree that it's amazing, super duper improbable. Now take
in
this
multiple different ways.
Now after observing this, I need you then to now construct how that leads
Add
to God.
a
It
whole
doesn't
nother
lead to
layer
God.
of
It just shows
complexity.
our own. It just
What's that?
Add a whole nother level of complexity.
Well, we're debating on is God real? So I would expect it to be that way. I guess.
shows our own.
While I would love to have that discussion with you, the argument here is, does God exist? And if what you're saying is, sure, I can even accept that some kind of creator being might exist, but you have to explain to me while it's yours, your debate's already over. And I'm more than happy
No, it's
to
not.
have that discussion.
Your job is to your side is that God does exist.
Well, yes.
And all you said is we've got amazing things here.
No, what I've said is we have things that are obvious evidence of a designer. And I'm not saying what that designer is. I'm not saying it's Jesus Christ. I did answer your questions on Jesus Christ. And of course, I believe that that is the case. But what I'm saying is that when the topic is God real? And the evidence for design is everywhere. And that while a 5-year-old can recognize a tree, grown-up flow state can recognize that the universe shows evidence of design in multiple ways that are indisputable. Then basically, we can see the argument. Is God real? We can say we know he's real. We don't.
Steelman, is that you?
Yep. Thanks for having me. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you. So I want to get through the debate and have kind of I don't mind if we want to throw in and talk about something that comes up real quick, but we're not going to spend a ton of time on it. And then once the debate's over, we can go at it all we want to. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Awesome. We don't want Gridcon anymore. No, I'm just kidding. All right.
He's going to keep yelling squirrel at me, and it's hilarious. It almost makes me want to do it some more just so he'll yell squirrel at me. Maybe in a few minutes.
Don't know or it's real. We don't know what it is. And we can have the second argument or debate as to what that is. And I will make my case for the Christian God. But in that case, it'd be better to simply cede and say, let's go to the next one.
Before we do that, I'm going to turn it over.
We're not doing that.
Before we do any of that, I'm going to read some super chats, and I'm going to turn it back over to Flo here. So real quick.
Oops, sorry.
Guys, we got audio 2, Avil. I'm sorry, I got a blurry photo. Avil 04280 for $5. What y'all are doing is really nice. Thank you so much. Raging Patriot 76er, $2 audio is no good. We fixed it. Thank you so much. Abers 09. This may be the first time I've seen someone concede their position in the first 3 seconds of the opening statement. Thank you so much. Horse got infinite reoccurring big lower back pain. So much for the super chats. We're gonna get going more into this debate. Please keep sending them. It's super helpful. We really appreciate all the love and support. Dusty, it was to you. Go ahead.
Okay. So again, these phenomena that we observe in nature, we are applying human traits to the experience. Have you ever held a snake, a pet snake?
Yes. I've also held.
Did it squeeze? Did it squeeze? It wrapped around you and squeezed you, I assume.
Well, small ones, garden snakes.
Yeah. That's not because it loves you. A lot of little kids will hold a snake and say, "Oh, it's hugging me because it likes me."
Right, and our job as parents is to say, "No, that's
right.
a general sign that it's going to try to eat."
Right, because we have a better capacity to suss out what is the case and what is not the case than little kids do. So you've referred to little kids a couple times now, holding them up as ideals of wonder and awe that we should emulate.
No, what I'm saying is that you were saying little kids don't have any understanding of anything, and I was trying to explain why Christ refers to little kids, and it is because of that wonder and awe. The point is, we lose something when we stop seeing the inherent beauty and difficulty of a tree. When and again, I want to keep this as broad and scientific as possible, but when you're looking at what our Lord says about every hair on your head being numbered, when you look at a tree, you don't know how many leaves are on it. But there's a difference between you and the child who might wonder how many leaves there are. For us, being more reasonable. We've simply given up on the question when in fact our creator has an accounting of how many leaves there are on that tree. That's an amazing thing when you think about it. So in some sense, yes, children have a very imperfect understanding of the world, but in other senses, we are supposed to go back to thinking like children when we establish things like wonder.
And that's part of the tells of religion being predatory, is when it wants you to think like a child and it wants you to not employ critical thinking. God gave us.
Can I ask you a question? Do you think children think anything useful?
I do not think that adults should look at children as models of behavior to emulate. That's why they're.
What about innocence?
What about innocence?
Well,
we're not talking about innocence. We're talking about. Do you think that kids think better than adults?
In some ways, they do because they're clearer.
Then
Sometimes
why is it they're not in charge of their parents?
Children are literally not clear.
Make better.
Yeah, no. I was letting them get right through this little part here, and then by all means, we should have some push around on this, because I, at the same time, have some pushback to what Dusty says with us.
Decisions? They don't make better decisions.
It's not an issue of better decisions. I didn't say that children are perfect thinkers. What I'm saying is that children have an understanding of wonder, and it's always. I hate
they
to
do
say
not,
this, but it's always when I talk about things like this with grown-ups.
So I think that while children often aren't going to make like the best decisions, right? They have the inquisitive mind to look deeper and to want to know, right? That's why little kids, they'll ask you why over and over and over. You know, oh, that's the sun. Well, why is there a sun? Well, why do we need that? Well, why does that happen? Well, why is it there? You know what I'm saying? And that's what
but he's conflating curiosity with not knowing, though, and I don't think he's doing it intentionally disingenuous, but it shows exactly how misleading religion really is, because you don't have to lose your curiosity or your wonderment as you get older. You can possess those things. You ask why less because you have more answers. Not because you give up on knowing the things that you don't know. That's just not true. And, there's like an insidiousness in there almost. But I don't think Father Joseph?
Yep.
I don't think he's doing it intentionally. But it that shows you how religion can sneak right past your bat and teach you ignorance, because you can still be curious as an adult. You can still have wonder as an adult. The reason why you stop asking why is because you actually know the answers.
The problem is, as we grow, we kind of get more. We get tired and we get jaded and bitter and frustrated, and we're focused on 1,000 other things. Why the hell would we stop and look up and wonder why the leaves on that tree are that shape and how many are there, or how many specks of dust are on the entire earth, so I think that's kind of what he's speaking to. Steelman.
Yeah, I think he's saying that children are like spiritually richer, and this is kind of a Buddhist philosophy as well. Is that once you label something, once you label a tree, then all trees are just trees. Once you label the colors, then all of a sudden they're just like green is green, no matter what shade it is. You can't actually appreciate it. So it's the labeling, it's the conditioning, and children don't have that cultural conditioning, and that's what gets you in tune with spirituality.
You don't become spiritually richer by knowing less.
I would say you do, because as you grow and experience this world and the things that are in it, again, the world's not exactly the most friendly, easy place to exist.
Well, and you're conflating knowing what man labels things as knowing truth. Just because
now you're
man
conflating curiosity with innocence.
Well, no, I'm saying you think that just because you know what an English word for something is, all of a sudden that makes you knowledgeable. No, that doesn't. That just puts you in like societal terms, what man has constructed isn't necessarily what nature has built.
No, we understand why the sky is blue.
What you think you can understand it through words. That's what I'm saying. But once, this is the whole Buddhist philosophy again. Once you think you understand the world through words, then you've totally lost spirituality. Because spirituality is ineffable. You cannot explain it in words. Nothing. Once you realize that nothing can be explained in words, once you see the world without words, then you can see it for what it truly is.
Then all spirituality is another form of ignorance.
Well, I would argue the opposite. I would argue that, thinking that words are an explanation to the world is actually ignorance within itself. But I'm not going to, I don't want to spur on this.
Words a way to communicate meaning. The meaning and the understanding underlying, that's what changes. And I don't, and again, knowing why the sky is blue doesn't change the level of wonder I have or the awe that I have. It doesn't prevent me from having a sense of awe.
Okay, let me give an example. Like, there's some religions, like these ancient Hindu religions, would say actually everything is not what you think it is. When you realize that the sky is not blue, that's when you'll see it for what it is.
That sounds like brainwashing bullshit.
And exactly, because you're brainwashed. You've been brainwashed to think the sky is blue.
This is exactly the kind of crap that Dusty is calling out from organized religions.
I don't want to go off. I mean, I could go on. We could talk about this forever. Because I would.
When a man cannot choose, he ceases to be a man. It's from Clockwork Orange. Thank you, D9. Let's get through
the deadness of the lack of imagination always strikes me on the part of the adults. Like, the point is, there are good things about being a kid.
I would say it's the opposite. I think that there's.
Did you have a happy childhood?
I did have a happy childhood.
Okay.
Why?
Yeah, you didn't know shit.
Your imagination grows as you become an adult. You become more capable of imagination. Your imagination deepens. Again, we just don't choose to imagine things that we already understand. It's like an argument for ignorance buried in some kind of mystical feeling about curiosity and wonderment. And it's a lie. It's a lie you don't have to believe.
But why would we assume that? All right, so I would be willing to say that there are some organized religions that absolutely will lie to you. Again, I personally separate faith from organized religion because I do believe that several of them do exist based on lies. But why would we think that anything else in the world would operate under different rules? If lying is okay there.
What's the question?
If lying is okay within, or not okay, but sorry, motorcycles. It's really nice here. So if organized religion is capable of getting away with lying to us and manipulating our choices and our actions through those lies, why would we assume that any other part of our experience here in life is any different?
I wouldn't make the same assumptions about my own experiences that I would about somebody telling me a narrative. I'm already going to inherently give it more weight if I experience it myself.
Fair.
So that's it. Okay. So basically, your view is that as a child you were just completely ignorant. You had no concepts of anything, and you just.
I think that children do not make better informed decisions than adults. That's why they're
claiming that they did.
Right. And I don't think that childhood worldviews or psychology is something to emulate. I'll agree that there are a lot of adults that get jaded and callous, and I think that's a bummer.
I'd say that they lose imagination.
I'll agree with you there, and I think that that's a bummer. However, I would disagree that belief in God is actually imaginative, I would think that an agnosticism, not knowing, actually is a lot more. There's a lot more opportunities there. Belief in God is just, it's very simple explanation. It's about like Big Bang.
Okay, now I know
To
that
believe
you're
is
kind
to
of
stop
separating
imagining.
Gnosticism from like.
Okay, so
To believe is to stop wondering. It's the end of curiosity. Aha! Eureka! I
don't
have
know.
the answer.
I'm gonna have to ponder that one over for a few.
Belief in theism, etc., that one is more creative than the other. I need remind you, however, that until the 20th century, virtually all great scientific minds in the West were Christians. So the idea that this is like that, like for example, the father. Do you know who the father of genetics is?
Remind me.
Gregor Mendel.
Okay.
He was a Benedictine monk, etc., who was practicing how to find more efficient ways of growing beans, and in so doing, discovered the foundations of modern genetics.
Right.
The point is, he was looking for something useful, and he used his imagination. These things do not necessarily disappear when one becomes a believer. Sometimes they are inspired by being a believer. Sometimes knowing that the heavens declare the glory of God inspires us to search for solutions in that creation.
And did you say he was a monk? Did you?
Yeah,
Okay.
he was a Roman Catholic monk.
So probably that I would guess that monk, that lifestyle allows you to have time to devote to things like this, don't you think?
Well, I mean, okay.
And more than like how did his religious belief contribute to his discovery of?
Well, I would say that his religious belief made him notice things about creation and wonder if they could be manipulated, because that is the job God gives to Adam.
But wonder's not a religious feature.
How do you know?
Correct.
Because I have wonder too, and I'm not religious.
Well, yeah.
Correct.
Like, if there's one thing I know that it's not because of religion.
Well, you don't wonder if your chair is going to sink into a black hole, but it's a non-zero possibility. It could still happen.
It could still happen, but I don't have to wonder because I've sat on a lot of chairs.
Yeah. Okay.
But I've not seen any. I've not seen any any universes be created. I've not seen any God.
So you would, now let me ask you a question. If you have not seen any universes created, then how can you expect any other standard than the one universe we have?
I'm not expecting any standard. What do you mean? I'm saying that there's things that we don't know.
The constants show that it is evidence of a creator because of the fact that it can only be done in one specific way that
Negative.
is so improbable. Once again, that moving it would be like winning the Powerball 28 times over. And
why?
Again, this is misdirection, and I don't think he's doing it on purpose. I think he believes it. Shout out to Father Joseph. I'm digging the cut of his jib. But this is as Douglas Adams said. It's rather as though you wake up and you're a puddle one morning thinking, what an interesting world I find myself in. Right? It's this hole that I find myself in. It fits me rather neatly, doesn't it? And in fact, it fits me so well, it must have been made just to have me in it. You're looking back at the universe that happened to be, which led to you being here, saying, wow, what a shocker that the exact universe I exist in is the exact one that I would exist in. You're looking back among at the result of billions of years of chance as the outcome of those billions of years and saying, holy shit, what an unlikely combination of events that led me to be here. The events that I'm fucking looking at.
I just want to point out two things in this conversation is that this guy in the black robe, he's not really arguing for the God of the Bible. He's just arguing intelligent design is one thing I noticed.
Yeah, I see no reason to believe in intelligent design so far.
So my next point is, if the sun is really 400 times the size of the moon, and only from planet Earth's perspective does it look like it's the same size as the moon, then that in itself is hard evidence of intelligent design, particularly for life forms on planet Earth.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. What are you
Then you will
talking
accept
about?
then you will accept no evidence of intelligent design. You're just a straight denier of intelligent design no matter what. You're going to say everything
How
is
is
a
that
coincidence.
evidence of intelligent design?
I'll tell you how. Because you have a sun that's 400 times the size of the moon. It should look a lot bigger or a lot smaller, but it actually almost looks the exact same size, and sometimes literally does during an eclipse, and it never goes off. It never even looks twice the same size. And from what perspective? From anywhere else in the universe, it would look different sizes, but from planet Earth, where we live, they look the exact same size. If you can't understand, and here's the thing about intelligent design: you have to be intelligent enough to see intelligent design. If you can't see it, then that's basically that's on you.
Yes, it's on me that you can't prove your claims. Are you serious?
No, I can present evidence to my claims, and if you can't see, it's like if OJ is sitting there with a knife, and you say, "Yeah, but you can't prove that he stabbed her." Well, no, you can't. But it's called fucking evidence, dude. And if you can't see it, then that's your fucking problem.
There is no knife. There's no dead body. There hasn't been a stabbing in this case. You're just spewing nonsense. Where's the evidence of an intelligent designer in the mere coincidence that you just named?
I go straight for, like I said, even within creationism, the possibility of it being coincidentally so perfect is just not probable. Not even close to being probable.
Once things get a certain distance away, the probability becomes a lot more likely.
So exactly. So what you do is you write it all off as coincidence, and that's the thing is you can't even accept evidence.
It's not evidence of intelligent design. What, God made them a pair the same exact size to prove to you he made it? Where's the intelligence in that design? How does it serve any function for them to appear to be the same size?
I'll tell you,
he's just fucking with your head?
Yeah, it obviously is a signature of God showing intelligent design, and only the intelligent can see that. The thing is with people like you, here's the thing with people like you. No matter what evidence you present to them, they'll always call it a coincidence. So
it's not evidence. It's not evidence of anything. You don't know what evidence means.
And I would say, well, what evidence would you consider to be acceptable?
What the proof of engineering.
And what does that look like?
Have you ever heard of the watch on the sand explanation for intelligent design?
No.
No, it's called the watchmaker's fallacy, and this is not that.
Why is it a fallacy?
Because they're saying that if you look at it, because they're saying if everything is intelligently designed, then you can't differentiate what is and is not intelligently designed. And that's why I'm pointing to you at a specific piece of evidence. Look at this piece of evidence. They're saying that you can't tell the difference between a watch and a piece of sand because both are intricately designed. That's true. But what I'm presenting to you is a hard piece of evidence to say, look, only from the perspective of Earth do we see this impossible ratio in the sky every day. It's presented to everyone constantly throughout time. This is so improbable that you're
engaging in the same fallacy.
See what I'm saying is now
do you understand why it's a fallacy?
No, what you applying a fallacy to this is actually a fallacy because now you're saying no matter what it is, no matter how intelligent design is, that you're saying that even if you're saying that no matter what it is, you're going to.
No, I'm telling you that large objects being really, really far away can appear to be about the same size as large objects that are closer but not quite as large is not evidence of intelligent design.
Exactly. The sun and the moon, which are yin and the yang, they both appear the same size. And if you don't think that that's intelligent design, then again,
they appear to be roughly the same size because one is so fucking far away.
Oh yeah, and then they appear roughly the same size. They're within like 5% at difference at their max.
So what did God fuck up when he made it 5% different? How come he didn't? How come he didn't make the sun and the moon so far away that there wasn't a 5% difference?
Okay,
did he screw it up?
Okay, I'll walk with you on this real quick.
That's intentional. If they were any further distance away, or any larger or smaller, we would not have the.
Then why is there a 5% difference in the
hold on.
size?
Let me walk
Why
with you on
didn't
this.
he make it exactly the same?
Hold on. Let me walk with you on this real quick.
Go ahead.
Okay, what if they were the exact same size and they weren't 5% difference? Then would you agree? So shut the fuck up.
You gotta love this guy. That was your argument.
Well, if they were the exact same size and there was zero difference in them at all, then would you concede or not? Because if not, then you have no fucking point.
I do still have a point. The point is that they're not the same size. So
if
your
they
God,
were,
so your
it's
perfect
intentional.
creator of the universe fucked up. He
No,
got
he
it
didn't.
5% wrong. Get the fuck out of here with your bullshit.
No,
Just because
not even.
if they were
Not
exactly the
even.
same, still wouldn't prove shit. Doesn't make the
Not
fact that they're
even.
not the same more proof. Are you fucking stupid?
They can't. If they were the same size, we wouldn't have the gravity that we have, or the fucking proper.
That's
timing
right,
with
and
the
that's
rotation
proof.
that we make.
And that's proof that there's no
Nah.
intelligent designer,
Bro,
and
bro.
that you're
Oh my
looking for fucking coincidences.
You just
and it
conceded.
doesn't matter if it's 5%
Okay.
off. You're still gonna jack yourself off.
Dude, you just conceded
You're
that
looking for any excuse to believe in shit that isn't
No,
there. You don't even care if it's inaccurate.
It
You
is
actually-
supposed to be that difference. Okay, you don't.
And he's conceding his own point. He's saying
Let's pray.
he's saying that if they were the exact same size, he would still write it off as a coincidence. So you're the one who's
Exactly.
actually in total denial,
right.
trying to prove.
No,
that's-
see, you lie just like
right.
organized religion. You're a liar.
This is
Where did I lie?
Your
it
point
does
doesn't get better because it's still shit if it's
Show me-
slightly less shitty.
This
Wait, when
is
did
where
I,
it does come down.
There's
to
no
a
logic in
problem.
that, you fucking liar.
This
Where
is
did I
it
lie?
does come- I'll wait. Go ahead.
Sorry, Beth. I was just curious. Where did I lie? Let's go ahead and point that out
I
to us
got
all.
you.
I tell you again, your argument doesn't become true because it's less shitty.
Okay, so did I lie about something?
It's still shitty. Yeah, your argument is still shitty. It's shittier.
Okay, but tell me where
Your
where I
argument,
lied.
if the moon and the sun were exactly the same, that would be an astounding fucking coincidence.
Yeah,
It would
it's called an
still be
eclipse.
proof of fuck all. The fact that they're not the same is more proof that you're full of shit. If you don't
No,
get
it's
that,
not.
you're dumb.
I don't
think you
understand.
get
Yeah,
it,
I think
and that
you're
you're
dumb with this
lying.
one. I think
So
you're dumb
make
with
your
this
pick.
one. I think you're yes, Witchy. We're more than halfway through, and I think you're not being reasonable with this one, or being intentionally obtuse with this. To
Yeah, it's me that's being obtuse when your God got it 5% off.
It's to ignore the physics and the purpose for it being the size that it is, and the
That's
position
why
that
it's
is.
5% off. It's
question
because you,
comes-
God didn't put it there. It's where it
question
needs to
comes
be for
down-
us to exist.
The question comes down to yet again, what proof would be acceptable to you? You have yet to outline what proof you would accept as
Evidence
fucking
of
proof.
engineering and material design.
So
This
what
brings
you
me
want-
back
what you
again
want
to the
is a
watchmaker.
You want
It
God's,
brings me.
You want God's physical blueprints to look at. Is that it?
Why is the watchmaker's fallacy a fallacy?
Answer my question.
I am answering it. Why is the watchmaker's fallacy a fallacy?
No, it's not. It's when you're applying it to this particular point.
Why is the watchmaker's fallacy a fallacy? If you don't know, I'll answer it for you.
I don't know my fallacies. Most of them. I don't know them.
If you want to tell us why you're making a fallacious argument, go ahead. Here.
Grid, I don't know what you want me to do. He's just screaming nonstop that, hey, God got it. It's not the same size, therefore, ipso facto, no God. Which is
No, that's not what happened.
And my question
listen, you are being so fucking disingenuous right now. I'm about to leave
My
this panel if you don't stop
this is what-
disrespecting me to my face.
Bye, Dennison.
Do you hear what I'm saying? Do you hear what I'm saying to you right now? If
This
you
is
don't
what
stop
I'm
disrespecting me to my face, I'm going to leave this panel. Is that what you want?
Yes. Buying
No,
little pigs.
I didn't
trying to
ask
tell
you.
Denizen, I'm trying to tell you this is what I'm hearing from you. I'm asking you a question and you not answering my question.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. You're either gonna have a conversation with me or you're gonna debate,
Okay,
bro. Me. I'm
then
not gonna debate,
I'm
bro.
not trying to fucking debate, bro. You. I'm asking
Then
you a
quit it.
logical question. If nothing is good enough, what is good enough? If this isn't good enough, if that's not good enough,
Do you know? Do you know why the watchmaker's fallacy
No,
is
I
a
already
fallacy?
said no. I already said
Okay,
no.
right. So, do you
See,
want to
you're the
talk
one
to?
debate throwing me
Do you
right now.
want?
Yeah, answer her
Do
question,
you
dude.
want to?
Answer her
So, do you
question,
want to
bro.
keep screaming over me, or do
Yeah,
you want me
answer
to
her
talk?
question. Answer her question.
You're the one debate broing me right now when all I did was ask a question as far as what evidence actually ends up being acceptable for you. I don't know the watchmaker's fallacy. All right. I asked a very simple question. And then you said you want proof of engineering. So then I said, does that mean you want God's physical blueprints in front of you that you can touch, hold, read, and fucking put together in your own mind in some kind of understanding? Is that what you're looking for? I don't understand what you're looking for and what level of proof is required for you to even leave any kind of room that there is an intelligent designer.
Okay, so the burden of proof is on you. You're making the claim that because
she's asking what would be proof.
Shut the fuck.
Well, then stop
up.
obfuscating and answer her fucking question.
I'm gonna answer the question the way I want to.
No, you're gonna dodge the question the way you want to.
Okay, I'm going to ignore you. That's what I'm gonna do. So you can kick me if you don't want me to talk.
I'm not
The
trying
burden
to
of
fuck
proof
with
is on
anything,
you.
Deny.
You said that the sun and the moon appear exactly the same.
Stop dodging her question. The burden of
And
proof
that's
is on us.
proof
Okay, she
that
said okay.
God did it.
What would be
The
proof to you?
fact is they don't. They're off.
Hang on.
It's about 5% off. So if your God designed it and that was his signature, he fucked it up. He got his own
So
signature
you're not going to answer her
wrong.
question. Just say you're not
Now
going to
all
answer
of
her
a
question.
sudden, it becomes my
Just say you're not going to
burden
answer the question.
to give you what quantifies sufficient evidence or proof of the existence of God, because your evidence is shitty. That's what you're doing. It's a flip of the burden that you have to prove your God onto me. Now, if I don't give you a definition of the evidence that's sufficient to convince me, something I couldn't possibly have an idea of, now all of a sudden, your shitty explanation, which is wrong and 5% off, becomes completely acceptable. That being said, the reason why the watchmaker's fallacy is a fallacy is because the argument posits that because the universe is so complex, this is akin to a watch. So it implies a divine creator, because complexity implies some kind of designer. And the problem with that is that if you're walking along the beach and you find a watch, it sticks out from everything else in nature, because that which is designed doesn't look anything like the complexity in nature. It looks entirely different and foreign. Everything that's ever been designed is instinctually separate from nature. You can immediately recognize nature as not being something that's been intelligently designed. The complexity goes far beyond that of anything man has designed or that has been intelligently designed. That's why it's a fallacy.
So that was your answer to the bar of proof that you would need? All right, got it.
failing.
Well, this is
Yeah,
actually
show me
interesting.
something that looks like
you
it was
said, okay, you've never
designed.
seen any universes created. What if there was an example of humans creating a universe? Would that prove there is a God or isn't a God? What do y'all think here?
I think that would just be proof of humans pretending that they are a god. I believe well, we've heard of what's known as simulation theory.
Sure.
And simulation theory posits the idea that maybe we're not, there's no God. Maybe we're all just part of a giant video game.
Sure.
And basically the creator is a giant gamer.
Yeah.
Like that's just personal.
That's just
like
theology.
exactly
That's
what
theology
I'm
for
saying.
nerds. That's just theology for nerds.
But what about you? What do you think if, like, say we created a pocket universe in a laboratory? Would that prove or disprove God?
It still doesn't say where we came from. It just says what we
What
did.
if you just made a really, really complete world in Minecraft?
Sure. Okay. Again, sorry. Thank you. Appreciate it. I look like an idiot now. All right. Go ahead.
I think a better question would be if God exists and if God created everything, why the big peekaboo? Why the big hide and seek game?
I don't think it's been a big peekaboo at all. I think God has been around for the whole time. Let me give you an example, because I'm sure that we could all sit around and talk about different kinds of miracles. I'm going to talk about my own personal experience that I saw with someone else's miracles. It had nothing to do with it, because I, for the most part, grew up and lived, even in my weird conversion, as a skeptic.
I fucking quit. Hi, Lippy. How are you?
Greetings, and I come up just to dispose of this logical fallacy that Dennison is talking about. He is absolutely correct. So let's hit the nail on the head. The logical fallacy is that you're comparing a man-made mechanical object to a natural chemical process. Okay, the first law of logic is identity. And those two things, a watch and a biological entity, do not share the same identical formats. Therefore, it is a logical fallacy to compare the two. Just like your moon and sun ideology. That's stupid. It's plain idiocy. End of argument. Have a good day.
Thank you, Lippy. I appreciate it.
Most people talk about, oh, God healed me from this. And I'd be like, yeah, maybe you just felt better. There's placebo effect, so on and so forth.
Right.
There's a case where we had this real holy monk who lived in Alaska, and he died around 96. And so a few years ago, somebody had gone to his old monastic hut in Alaska, and they saw that he had this old altar cross. In any case, they brought out the old altar cross, and for some reason, somebody with cancer asked for a blessing with that cross. And so they blessed the person with the cross. They didn't think there's lots of Orthodox in Alaska, so that blessing people with a cross is normal.
Mm-hmm.
But that person had stage 4 cancer, and it disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we could argue, we don't know what that means, but what ended up happening was there were a lot of cancer victims in that area, and they all started asking for it, and they all went to the doctors, and the doctors said, you're stage 4, you're stage 3, you're stage 4, lung, throat, you name it, gone.
Mm-hmm.
Almost immediately after touching this man's cross. Now, I'm in the middle of a council meeting of the church here where the bishop is literally talking to various Alaskan doctors, verifying, is this really what happened? Is this what happened in this case with this guy, in this case with this guy, in this case with this guy? Eventually, you have to start asking, I myself, because I have tested and played with games about what is an answer and what is not, that's a tough one.
So what are they doing with where's the cross now?
It's in Alaska.
Are they continuing to cure cancer with it?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
What's it called?
You explain it.
I can't explain it. I've never heard of it. I don't.
It's fine. It's called spontaneous healing of cancer, and if you want to know more about it, you can just ask my bishop.
What's the cross called? Or is there?
It's an altar cross. It doesn't have. It was just a monk's cross.
So why hasn't this thing blown up? Why aren't people? Why doesn't?
Well, you don't know.
Why haven't I heard about this until now?
Because of the fact that nobody knows about Orthodoxy, but I guarantee you there's a whole bunch of Christian miracles going on all over the place that you haven't paid attention to. And I'm not talking about those frauds on TV who hire an actor to faint when you touch them. I'm talking about like the real stuff where people lose real diseases and real things happen. Any Christian in this room of any faith tradition can probably point you to some gotcha stuff they read about in books, gotcha stuff they heard about from people, so on and so forth. Those are the claims you need to investigate, and you honestly need to investigate them by the thousands.
Well, why? Hold on. Why?
Because again, evidence of a pattern
we don't have to go down every rabbit hole. At some point, you can go, okay, I don't know if you believe in the Shroud of Turin. At some point, I can go, okay, the Shroud of Turin's
a what?
The Shroud of Turin.
Oh, the Shroud of Turin. I absolutely do.
Okay, that's a scam relic, right?
No,
I've looked into that. It's a scam relic.
No, it's not.
Okay, that's fine.
You realize that the last carbon dating they did on it, they determined it couldn't be other than 2,000 years old, that it had bacteria on it that were 1,700 years old.
I realized that they have kept testing and eventually they found somebody who would say it might be older than that. But the vast majority of the tests do say it's not that old.
No.
Yes,
no.
they do.
That's just cherry picking.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
And even I know that you're not Catholic, but even the Roman Catholic Church's position on it has not changed. They've said it's a.
The Roman Catholic Church famously does not declare anything to be real or not real because of the fact that they don't want to deal with the legal claims. Remember that Roman Catholicism has seers who think that the Mother of God speaks to them from the sun and ends up blinding believers every other year. There's a reason the Pope doesn't want to verify those things. It's called legal liability. If you're saying like, "Oh, Mary spoke to me from the sun," and then you get like cornea burning, then like your family decides to sue the Vatican. Like there's a reason that they don't.
But there's no legal liability in confirming a relic.
No, there isn't. But that's why I'm saying that if you look, the majority of the studies that have been done and recent ones, I'm talking about most recent,
and they did make they did make a
1978.
Right. They did make a claim about the Shroud of Turin though, and they have not changed it.
Well, they didn't say
they said it was not authentic.
No, they said that it is not verified.
You're gonna have to review this review.
I know that case. Yeah. Now I'm not gonna argue now. If your entire case, if I'm pointing to people being spontaneously healed by Christian,
Great. I hope you have a safe flight and get home safe, sir.
Relics, and your entire case is, well, maybe the Shroud of Turin is 13th century. If the Shroud of Turin is 13th century, let's just end this on that. How was it painted?
How was it painted? What do you mean? How was it painted?
How was it painted?
I would assume with paint.
Okay, well, no.
I don't know what you're asking me.
The pigments on the shroud are of unknown origin to this day. It's not paint.
Okay.
So what is it?
It's a fraud. It's a fraud relic.
Oh, so it's made out of fraud paint. You just don't know what that is.
Furthermore, you think that was Jesus the only person to get crucified and then wrapped? Was Jesus the only one to get crucified by the Romans?
No.
Of course he was not.
Of course not.
Even if I were to grant you, which I'm not doing, even if I were to grant and say, okay, this is a cloth of somebody that is 2,000 years old who was crucified.
You do realize that most studies that have been done on the Shroud of Turin show that the process is similar to something like laser etching. Are you familiar with how a laser printer works?
Yeah, and I've heard people make that claim,
right?
But that doesn't make the cloth older than it is.
Okay, well, even in the 13th century, did they have like laser printers that they just printed on cloth?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah,
but again, you're drawing conclusions out of. Well, I don't know this, so it must be.
Wait. How are you not doing that when you're going? I don't know what made it, but it's fake.
I don't need to know what made it to know that it's not the age it's claimed to be.
How? How can you prove that? You're basing it off
carbon dating, how we prove ages of things. That's how we prove the age of things.
Well, here's the fun part. Carbon dating on 6 different parts of that shroud show different ages, wildly different ages. Explain to me how they patchworked it.
I will explain it because people like you who want to believe in the conclusion that they already have will keep poking until they find a researcher who's willing to give them that they want.
Yeah, but you do realize you're just operating off of the doubt of the gaps. You're simply saying, well, we don't have an explanation for it, therefore don't believe it. You're doing the exact same thing you're claiming.
We don't have an explanation. Yeah, we don't.
So disingenuous.
Have reason to believe this. All you're doing is pointing to to the things that we don't know, which is where I agree
exactly what you're
doing. Which is where I agree with you. Right, but you're saying
I don't ascribe to relics anyways.
We don't know how this could happen, so therefore God. And I'm saying we don't know how this.
Right.
We don't know how this could happen, so that's what we don't know.
No, actually, you started with the shroud and said we don't know how this happened, so therefore not God. I started with these are impossible scientific constants that if they're not followed, the universe will collapse on itself. Therefore, designer. And you said no, maybe not.
Let me just pause you real quick. It's getting a little bit loud here real quick. Thank you so much. I'm just going to read a couple super chats real quick, and then I'm going to turn it right back over to you. We got Horse God with $5. Infinite reoccurring Big Bangs. Eventually one will create Earth conditions if God created us in his own image. Oh, yeah, we just read that one. Sorry.
Infinite monkeys.
Yeah, the Infinite monkeys. Also, can we count on how many Christian straw man Dusty built during this? I lost count. How many have you built?
Several.
Yeah. Is that the technical? No, all right. So go ahead. I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah. So basically, one thing that I will say, and this is something that you mentioned, that if this creator God was perfect, supposedly, that everything he produces by nature should be perfect.
Correct.
Right. That's the free will question. The assumption that a perfect being would not necessarily want to allow imperfection.
Correct.
However, that doesn't follow. If a perfect being wanted to have a being that was flawed to strive to perfection, then they would want an imperfect being in the universe. So your assumption is baked in, like a perfect being must reproduce a perfect result, which is a great argument between the Father and the Son.
I was pairing the perfection with the all loving claim, right?
Okay.
So if he's all loving, then he would not want to create imperfect beings, knowing that some of them will fail and then be tortured for eternity.
Well, not necessarily. We don't know the nature of the torture for eternity, but more importantly, you are assuming that your finite being understanding of perfection is perfection.
I'm assuming that my understanding of love means that you don't torture somebody for eternity. Yes, I am.
I would.
Do you agree with that?
Well, I don't know. How do you feel about what should we do with child molesters? Oh, but I thought you didn't want to hurt anyone. That's not love.
I didn't say I don't want to hurt anyone. There's lots of people I want to hurt.
Oh, okay. But is that perfect love?
I'm not offering perfect love.
Okay, but if you were and people did perfect evil, would you not have something to respond with?
I don't offer perfect love, and I
therefore, how can you speak for God if you don't offer perfect love?
You're the only one claiming to speak for God. I'm saying that there's
been
consistency.
Speak for God. I'm simply saying that God is real.
I can speak for parental love, and I can say that if we treated our kids like God treats humans, supposedly, where it puts them in games, otherwise they die and get tortured.
What are you talking about? Explain.
What I'm talking about is the Christian paradigm in which you are born into a game that you don't know how you're playing or how to win, and if you lose, you die.
Okay.
That's not loving parents. That's literally the plot of the movie Saw.
Okay, well, fun fact: I've never watched the movie Saw, and
you'd like it.
No, I wouldn't. I've seen clips. I've read the wiki. I find those movies a waste of time and designed to introduce despair into humans.
I agree.
That's bad.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not saying it's a good movie. I'm just saying it does. The plot does follow your.
But the point is that plot is not proper parenting. I would argue most people don't think proper parenting is represented in Saw, and I would argue that that's not the way God sees His creation. We can have a discussion on the nature of the question of people who are outside Christ. What happens to them? If there are differences in what is hell or Hades, what happens to people after they die? But all of those presuppose a creator.
And the internal contradictions within that worldview is a good reason not to believe the tenets of that worldview.
Okay, but you're not dealing with the internal contradictions. That the delicacy of the universe is such that if you took it as seriously as you claim to take the claims of Christians, you would be questioning whether you could sit down in the chair. You would be questioning whether your microphone could work. You'd be questioning whether your cell phone would blow up in your hand. You'd be questioning whether that pen that you're holding isn't going to just jump out and hit you in the eye. The point is you simply have no idea when you're dealing with such levels of uncertainty versus certainty. And if you're willing to say, well, that doesn't matter, then really you should be questioning whether you can walk, whether your next step is going to send you through the floor like a cartoon. I mean, the point is, the reason that you don't do that is because you understand that certain things are finite, graspable, observable, etc. One such example is the fine-tuning of the universe, the electromagnetic standard.
He almost started stating facts.
Force. These things scientifically have been shown in the 20th century to be very specific in how they work and to be very specific in how they hold the universe together. None of those things can be random. And if we try to randomize them, we've already seen scientifically the universe collapses. So that is evidence that something as the physicist had put out more, I believe I mentioned earlier. He said a super intelligence has monkeyed with physics, because he, being an atheist, when he saw that the production of carbon had to be 7.65 million electron volts, because of the fact that if it was not 7.65 million, if it was off by 1, the stars wouldn't have enough energy to produce carbon. If it was over by 1, they again wouldn't have enough energy to produce carbon. It was exactly that number. Without that, the stars couldn't produce carbon, and no carbon, no humans, no life.
The fact that physics is amazing, or that I'm ignorant of physics, none of that is relevant to religion. The religious claims are not nearly as complicated as physics ones. I don't understand quantum physics. I'll be the first to say that.
Well, isn't that amazing?
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
You know what's amazing is the fact that our creator has left people a way to understand what he wants without having to be a quantum physicist.
Faith.
What?
Faith.
Oh, I think you said faith. Okay.
Faith, right? Faith.
Well,
that's
faith,
what it's called upon.
Yeah. And why is that bad?
Faith, the belief in things that you don't have sufficient evidence to actually believe properly?
Well, I would say that that's an incomplete definition, that faith is the substance of things that are unknown, but that we can perceive.
Yeah.
But more importantly, here's my point.
Faith is a tool for people who want to take advantage of you.
It's very simple.
The two professions that
are you
suggest
really going to spout cliches at me?
Yes, the two industries that suggest that their clients operate according to faith are religion and drug dealers. Trust me, try it. You'll like it.
And strip clubs.
Yeah, and strip clubs and the pharmaceutical industry and Hollywood and the music industry and every major industry. You have made my point that I established at the beginning, that in the absence of God,
that God is just as reliable as Hollywood. Excellent argument.
What was originally a place for God with consumerism, and you're basically saying it's good.
These things formed with God. Christianity is still the biggest religion on earth.
Technically, it's competing with Islam. Well, they're both around 2 billion followers each.
So it's not the absence of God that created these things. These things happened while God was president.
To be fair, Trump is working to get those Islam numbers down. The bombing in Iran.
The only reason I somewhat disagree is because even though he is bombing Iran, he is allowing all of them to move into Europe. So.
I'm sorry I got sidetracked there. Continue about this.
All right. The point I'm trying to make is that you're establishing the points that I made at the very outset, which is in the absence of belief in God, people use other methods, other secular methods to fill the void, to manipulate people.
Yes.
My point is that people who believe in God are above manipulation because of the fact that they can be critical about men while believing in God.
Did you just say that? Hold on. Did you just say that again about being above manipulation?
I'm saying that it allows people to be above manipulation. I am not a Roman Catholic.
Oops, sorry.
But I want to ask, is anyone in the room a Roman Catholic? 1, 2. Okay. The point is that the two people I brought up in this example, they're Roman Catholics. They probably know about the priest scandal, right?
Right.
But they're able to make a distinction between priests, some priests being gay, and Jesus having nothing to do with that. So you see, they're able to make that distinction.
Oh, we're doing the few bad apples thing.
Well,
it's just a few bad apples.
A few bad apples. It's literally statistically a few bad apples.
Right.
Yeah, but the problem with that is a few bad apples spoil the bunch.
They're able to be manipulated.
I'm saying that they're less manipulatable because they can clarify that there can be problems in a situation.
They're not
organization.
No, they're just carrying water. They're just carrying water.
They're just carrying water.
They're just carrying water.
Okay.
And you're praising them. You're saying that they're not as easy to be manipulated. But look at what do you think about Kenneth Copeland?
I
Absolutely. He's a complete con artist. He's got a huge audience that sends him tons of money. Those are all very, very manipulatable Christians. Don't you agree?
What do you think about vaccines?
I think that they're poison.
Huh. But they were recommended by our government.
So?
And our government said that people who didn't believe in
I'm
the
so
vaccines
proud of
or
Flo
didn't
right now.
trust the vaccines probably should go to jail.
Yeah, I think that's fucked up the government. I am no government fan.
Oh, okay. Oh, you don't trust the government?
Correct.
Why not?
Because a long history of them demonstrating that they're abusive of their position.
So but you're still a loyal American, I assume, correct?
I consider myself an American. I'm not a government fan.
No, you don't have to be a government fan. Never had to be. But you see, you've just made my point that you can be within an organization while being critical of it.
Touché.
Well, there is a difference, though. Just
What the fuck does that have to do with the existence of God?
Right? Is one is he's born into America, as opposed to at some point you choose the denomination that you're a part of. Would you agree that that is an important distinction between the two? It's not like he got to choose to be an American.
Well, I would argue that no, it's not a big distinction, because whether you're born into it, you start to learn about it and you're critical about it, or you move to a religious body and you realize problems with it and you're critical about it. The point is, the establishment of critical thinking can occur in a religious concept.
But I guess the difference I'm asking is, right, so when I look at it, right, if I want to renounce my church and go to a different one, I can just leave, and then I can go to another church. Some church on promise of a letter. I can go to a different denomination. I can just not be a Christian. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard not to be not an American, right? You'd have to renounce citizenship, pay a fee, et cetera, et cetera. You don't think there's a
well, I mean, if you really hated America that much in terms of the land that you live in, it makes sense that you would leave.
Okay, do you think that's important?
That is absurd.
I think that being born into, I think that almost everybody stays in the religion that they were born into. Very few people shift religion.
I don't know that that's true.
I disagree with
that. I think that's changed a lot.
Okay. But as far as the friction or the cost of changing that thing, yeah, I think it's significant. You can just drop church or just go down the street to a new one. But yeah, becoming not an American, that's a massive difference. Mm-hmm.
But the point is not whether or not it's the standard is harder or easier. The point is that you can act critically of an organization of which you are part of.
Who
and
cares?
Religion gives you that. Ironically, consumerism doesn't give you that.
What do you mean?
Okay, people who replace their religious fervor with interest in Taylor Swift. There's a lot more. Swifties are real.
They're nuts. They're nuts.
Right. Now,
And they can't criticize Taylor Swift? They can't criticize the music industry? What the fuck is this guy talking about?
So in some sense, the accusations you make towards religion of being cultish, if you will, seem to happen more when people stop paying attention to God and start paying attention to material crap.
This debate just took a left turn off into Goo land.
There's anything about religion that moves people away from materialism. In fact, I think that I mean, to look at a good example is the Mormons. A good example is the Mormons. They're very materialistic, very wealthy.
Yeah. Okay. I would argue that
it's starting to seem like Father Joseph is focusing on this one thing because it's the only point he's been able to make the whole debate. He doesn't want to let it go now because it's like the first gotcha guy. He hasn't made the connection in his brain. Unfortunately, it does nothing to support his position. It's like, who cares what psychiatrists write on walls? But because he got Dusty to agree to it, he just won't let it go now. Now, is this going to be the rest of the conversation? I wonder.
Very pro-familial with each other towards the out-group. I would say their business practices are sometimes predatory.
Right.
So, but the point I'm trying to make is that that said, that again comes from that whole in-group, out-group thing. But all of the critical pieces in terms of questioning what we believe, in terms of trying to figure out right and wrong, every philosopher on this matter, up until the 20th century, with almost no exceptions, was a Christian.
That's not true. That's not true at all.
It doesn't even come close to being
There's a
true.
lot of historical criticisms of Christianity by philosophers.
Okay.
You know that they're there.
I know that they're
Yeah.
there, and most of them
So-
are 20th century. Some, like Voltaire, will go back a couple of hundred years. Humanist critiques of Christianity have existed. That's not a big deal to me because sometimes the critiques are based on straw men.
There were lots of, and I can't think. I don't have any names off the top of my head. They're all Latin names. There was a lot of criticisms of early Christianity in the 3rd, 4th centuries when it was
Criticisms of early Christianity.
Yes, there was a lot of philosophical criticisms of Christianity, and I don't remember who
Like
wrote them.
Marcus Aurelius.
No, but I do like him.
Well, he did books criticizing
Right.
Christianity.
So there you go. So yeah,
But
exactly.
he was a pagan.
But
he
you
wasn't
tried,
a Christian self-criticizing.
What?
He was a pagan talking about how stupid Christians were.
right? Of course, somebody criticizing Christianity is probably not going to be a Christian.
Not necessarily. We've
necessarily.
done more self-criticism than our opponents, I would argue. But none of this.
Christians criticize other Christians all the time because the dogmas branch out so far and are so different. And that's what happens when man wants to add rules that God never placed there.
It has to do with the fact
Got to make
that
sure you're
when
in their
you are
club,
dealing
though.
with the evidences in the creation of the universe itself that are now obvious to us in the age of spectroscopy and other sciences. To deny the existence of a God, I'm not asking you to believe in my God. I'm not asking you to believe Jesus is Lord. It will help you if you do, but I am asking you to at least accept that the scientific worldview that you live on operates on one that is based on a creator because it can't be any other way. What's the word I'm looking for? It can't be any other way numerically. It's not possible. You're talking about
You mean you don't know any other way to explain it?
No, it's not an issue of don't know it.
It is in fact possible that there could be other ways. You're assuming that you have knowledge of 100% of the possibilities.
The reason why
and
I'm
back,
saying, the reason
back
why
to the
I'm-
ants.
No, the reason why you've missed. I've stated this about 10 times and you've missed this. Is that the reason I know it can't be any other way is because scientifically it's been shown that if you change any of the variables, Earth goes bye-bye. The universe goes bye-bye.
I understand.
Yeah,
that.
this
I
one.
haven't missed that
So
at
in
all.
other
I haven't
words,
missed it at all.
It's not that there's any other way we haven't found yet. It's that any other way we know of destroys the universe.
This
That's the
one.
difference.
That
not good
again
enough proof.
does not. Okay.
This universe is built the way
mathematical
this
phenomenon
universe
amazing.
is.
I've given you that. Now, hey,
It's, it's not just mathematical, it's scientific. It's based on physics.
Well, right. It's math.
Cosmology.
It's mathematical. That's not scientific proof of God. It's not.
No,
Otherwise,
it's scientific proof
It's
of
Chuck
creation because
Glock
it is
for me?
fine-tuned. Because the universe cannot fine-tune
just
itself.
because you don't know how something
Oh.
got there or
Oh,
got
yeah.
that way does not mean that God did it. That
But I do know how something got there. I've been explaining it to you the whole time. You're the one going, big numbers can't explain. And I'm sitting here going, it can literally be explained.
you're explaining
By God.
a scientific phenomenon through faith. You're just making the claim. You haven't.
I'm literally the only one putting up numbers, and I'm the one explaining through faith.
Yes. Okay. Give me aside from your fascination with big numbers or amazing numbers or your wonder, right?
Or the universe blowing up if it doesn't work this way.
Right. Again, right. Yes. It's a very good number. Now, how do we?
It's not just a number.
It is literally a number.
These
It's
are what
literally
are known
numbers.
as constants.
What you're saying is I don't understand it, so therefore God. And
No,
you're jumping a lot of things.
You've missed the point. I'm saying I do understand it, so therefore God, because any
Wow.
other answer blows up the universe.
So how come there are so many scientists who believe in the Big Bang?
Because the Big Bang sounds like a cosmology that works, and even many Christians believe in the Big Bang
Mhm.
because it is literally creation out of nothing.
Without a God, there's no God under Big Bang.
Not true.
There's
Well,
no
that's
God under
not
Big Bang, is there?
Not mutually exclusive.
Yeah, I mean, would you argue that? Let there, let me just try this. You know, saying "let there be light" doesn't count as the Big Bang.
Exactly.
Boom, let there be light. There it is. Like that.
He's like, did you hear him say "Let there be light"?
I'm just,
Were you there?
I mean, but you're here promoting there's specific attributes to your God. The debate isn't actually about creationism; it's about God.
No, I know that's
Right.
all it's about, and the fact that I can show you evidence of creation, and all you can
You
do
have
is go
shown
for
no
coincidence,
evidence of
tells
creation.
me that you do not understand the fundamental problem that physicists are relying on, and that many of them are turning to belief about.
Many of them are not,
because no evidence is ever enough.
I've challenged you.
No, you just have shitty evidence.
This age of AI.
No evidence.
Say
no
what
theory,
prominent
it doesn't
scientists
get
ended up becoming
I
Christians
don't know.
or believed in
That's
Christ.
fine.
I can list
Nobody
off
asked
names.
You
like
have
Werner
really shitty
Heisenberg,
evidence that
who's
doesn't
like
prove
one of the
anything.
fathers of quantum mechanics.
Look, I'm not one of those people who says that you have to believe the things that I believe.
You don't have any evidence for it.
I embrace freedom of will. And I can't I'm not gonna lean on anecdotal experiences.
No, we're talking about the fine-tuning argument. That's the only argument he's made throughout this entire debate. He keeps harping back to it over and over and over again. I can shit on it. I could shit on it for like 10 minutes straight.
Yeah, I know. You have.
Who famously said, the first sip of the water of science will make you an atheist, but God is waiting for you at the bottom of the glass.
Okay.
The point is that there are more scientists than you realize who do believe in God. And that's once you remember that there are more scientists outside of America, then you will realize that there's lots of scientists who believe in God and don't make that big of a deal of it. The point I'm trying to make is that the idea that has been inculcated by American media companies, etc., that believers stupid, non-believers smart and buy things is wrong. It's programming. And when you get past it, you realize that there's nothing, there's no conflict between a Christian being a Christian and a Christian being a scientist.
Religion is programming as well. You can say that it's programming to not believe in God, but there's Sunday school, right? Does your church have Sunday school for kids?
No.
It doesn't?
No.
Orthodox don't do that?
Some do, but most traditionally don't, because the teaching is in the liturgy. It's in the icons, the scripture readings, etc. The kids pick it up. Remember, we don't freak out if kids are playing in our churches. If they're just sitting around and on the floor or something, it doesn't bother us. So it's just a different kind of worship, because our worship is kind of static and facing in one direction. But that's just Orthodox. The point I'm trying to make is that to see when people say Sunday school or teaching kids CC, that's religious indoctrination. You know how I hear that? I hear, I don't like your religious indoctrination. I'd prefer they have my religious indoctrination. Because you see, if you don't
So what? You're admitting it's all indoctrination.
If I teach my kids look both ways before crossing the street, is that indoctrination?
Yeah.
Is it helpful to the kids, or should I not do it? Should I just say good luck?
But I just want you to say, yes, you acknowledge that religions do indoctrinate kids.
I never said that they don't, but I'm saying that it's a good thing if it's not manipulative.
Telling kids that they're going to go to hell for eternity if they don't stay in the religion and contribute to it is abusive, I would say.
Unless it's true, in which case you're helping them. Like we haven't gotten into the debate about hell. I would like to, once we get into the debate about Christ, which is not the point of this debate, because this debate is just about, is God real? But if you seated, is God real, I'd be glad to talk to you about Jesus Christ, and I'd be glad to talk to you about hell.
I have not seated that God is real. I have not seated that God is real.
That's okay. I enjoy it when people don't see it, but they have no logical reason.
I know enough about your belief to know that there are very specific attributes of God, correct?
That's not the point of the debate.
Okay, so God could be anything then. Just universe come from somewhere. Is that what you're saying?
I will.
Here we go. Thank you.
Spaghetti monster.
Thank you, Flo.
I will cede to you. If I say that it kind of looks like it might be a flying spaghetti monster, will you then cede the debate?
Okay, if you can prove to me that this flying spaghetti,
I don't want to prove it to you.
You can't.
What if I showed you a Greek statue proving I'm Dionysus?
You do kind of look like him.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Could be.
the reason that this has been debated for 2,000, for more than that, for thousands of years and continues to be debated.
You said 2,000.
I did say, because I was thinking about
Those are the important ones. The AD.
The reason it's been debated for thousands of years and continues to be debated is because actually there is not proof. There never has been. And religions don't actually call for proof. They call for faith.
Okay, but in this debate, from the outset, I pointed to real constants in physics. I pointed to real things happening, to real numerical values,
Yes.
to real what ifs if it doesn't match the system.
Right.
I have pointed to the science.
Right.
And you've responded to me with numbers big, bro. That's not an answer.
That does explain what you're doing. You're saying these are amazing. These are amazing numbers. And I'm saying, yes, they are amazing numbers. I give you that.
Well, let me just call it here. Since we're doing the numbers thing again, let me just go ahead. We're about at that time anyway here. We're going to go ahead the closings. We want to thank you for all the support. So we're staying with this debate. And so far, I think people. I believe you started us off, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. So you're going to go ahead and start us off with the negative, and then we're going to go to you. Make sure you tell everybody where to find you, who you are, and all that good jazz. Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you for having me on. This has been fun. Again, so most of the debate was looping around his amazement at big numbers in physics. I agree that there's a lot of amazing things that we cannot explain. And I think that we do not benefit by claiming to know things that we, in fact, don't know. At no point did he ever bridge the gap to say, this is amazing, and this is how I know it came from God. He just said, this is amazing, so I assume it must be God. Again, that's not evidence to the positive. That just illustrates that you have a finite perspective and a finite worldview. Whether or not God created the universe, the fact is that we are smaller than the universe that we live in, and we should be amazed by everything. We came from it. So, anyways, good talk. I yield the rest.
All right. Thank you so much. Where to find you, who you are?
Oh, Powder Dusty, at the Powder Dusty on YouTube, Kick, Rumble, and X.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. And Father Joseph, you're up.
Yeah, okay. So I've got 5 minutes here. I'm going to just quickly state this. It was really fun talking to my opponent, but I think that this ending of this debate is exactly endemic of the problem. I started this by trying to make a scientific case for God, pointing to a number of constants of physics to make very clear that a creator is the only logical conclusion you can draw. Your response here, and you used it throughout the debate, is to say that what I was saying was that God is amazing and math is amazing. I never used the word amazing in my intro. I didn't think any of it's amazing. All of it is science. All of it can be demonstrated through basic physics and through the knowledge of physics that we have. As I started from the beginning, and it's why I kept saying maybe you should cede, is that you started by saying I can't prove that God doesn't exist. Well, then you're not up for the topic because I'm trying to prove that it does. But more importantly, the point is you had a lot of interesting thoughts on religion, and we talked about different things like the nature of Christianity and stuff, none of which had to do with whether we had a creator. So I'm going to reiterate those points very clearly. Science demonstrates that a creator exists. If you look at just the improbabilities, the probabilities, and what happens if everything that is fine-tuned in the universe doesn't happen exactly that way, you don't have a universe. So the point is, all the other stuff, it was fun talking about free will, cultic control, fine, but none of it was relevant to the question. The question was, is God real? My point was the evidence from science says yes, and that's it.
And where to find you and who you are?
My name is Father Joseph Swaden. My website's nftu.net, and my channel is NFTU.
Thank you so much. All right, I'll have our participants just walk over there. We're going to do one more final post-fight interview here with y'all.
All right.
And then right after we do that with Glenn, we're going to be coming right back over here for a closing statement with me, Grid, and Glenn. Close now.
Awesome sauce.
That was it?
Yep.
Oh, can I give my closing?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I just on the Alaska thing, I could find no evidence whatsoever that there's a cross anywhere, including in Alaska, that heals cancer. Just even stories of it or claims of it. The Shroud of Turin is widely considered by historians and scientists to be a medieval hoax, likely created in France during the 1350s. Radiocarbon dating conducted in 1988 placed the linen's origin between 1260 and 1390, century after the time of Jesus. They figured out what the pigment was. It's been identified as red ochre pigment, iron oxide suspended in gelatin, collagen, and applied thinly. The blood stains were identified as vermilion, aka mercury sulfide. A vast majority of people remain in the religion they're born into. It's well over half. It's over 90%. Most people in the world just stay where they were born geographically, and they stay in the religion that they're born into spiritually. The vast majority of philosophers are secular. Not only are they not Christians, they're not even theists. It's 70% or higher. The fine-tuning argument, Jesus Christ. I'll try to make this quick and not bore people. It's just so ridiculously fucking absurd. Where do you start? It relies on untestable assumptions, untestable probabilities. We can only observe one universe, so it's impossible to fathom whether or not the physical constants could have been something else. Even mathematically, it usually yields a probability of 0 chance of the universe existing, making improbable claims of its improbability mathematically incoherent. And there's no independent, even with all that said, there's still no independent evidence for a designer anywhere in any of the argument. It infers that there's a cause of a creator from the effect that it observes that it's attempting to explain. It's the very definition of fucking circular reasoning. Multiverses. We could have all kinds of different fucking universes where carbon is made out of bubblegum. And that's without getting into the theological and logical inconsistencies, which I could probably talk about for another 20 minutes. And, and I was thinking, the moon is moving, right? So I checked this. If you were born 100 years ago, or say when around Jesus' time, the moon would have appeared to be larger than the sun. And 100 years from now, it's going to be much smaller. So even right now, it's not even the same size. It's 5% different. And it doesn't mean fuck all for evidence because it's changing, for fuck's sakes. The moon is moving away from the Earth. I rest my case.
So the perceived size of the moon isn't the actual, like, measured size of the moon, right?
Yeah. Well, it was going to be perceived to be much larger than the sun the farther you go back in history.
And it has nothing to do with the mass of it or anything else, or what kind of impact it has on the gravitational pull that keeps the Earth where it's at and all that. Right? Sure, it's moving away. Whatever, I'll grant that. The world is not supposed to be.
Yeah, so they don't look the same now. They looked way different 100 years ago, and they're going to look way different in the opposite direction 100 years from now. There's your perfect designer's evidence that everything is made by him. Hogwash.
That's fine with me. The other thing is, I don't ascribe to relics. Especially during the schism, they did some really fucked up shit as far as desecrating graves, claiming whether they were the actual saints or not. It doesn't matter. The things that they did, I don't get behind. I think it's ridiculous. Just same thing with Shroud of Turin, the Crown of Thorns, the pieces of the cross. Yeah, there's no way to track that stuff, and to have people kissing the cases that they're in, kneeling before the cases that they're in, praying before the cases that they're in, that's all comes down to freaking, it's idol worship.
I'm glad to hear you say that.
So I don't ascribe to those things. And I think that organized religion, as I said in the beginning, does in fact lie to people in a lot of ways. And it's not just one, it's a huge number of them, if not all. It's just a matter of which way do they lie, what lies are they telling, what is the purpose for the lies that they're telling. And yeah, that's just how it is.
In fairness to,
Regardless of all that, do I choose to have faith in a God? Yes, I do. And I don't require you or anyone else to have faith like I do. You're welcome to, like I said, I'm a huge fan of freedom of will. So everybody can have the freedom to believe whatever they want to. I'm not here to freaking dump people around with the Bible and yeah, whatever. Go ahead.
I mean, in response to that, I believe that the Christian God is 100% real. I believe in the exact same God that you believe in, and that you're 100% correct, and that you and Father Joseph still showed fuck all 0% evidence of his existence. And in fairness to Flo, these are all things that I already knew because, like, this is my favorite debate of all time. I've been doing it since I was like fucking 10 years old on the internet. But I had the internet at my fingertips to be able to Google all those facts and verify them and spout them off. He had nothing, right? He was just on the spot. So,
what evidence do you set forth as the best evidence?
What for the existence of God?
Yes. Pull the pan.
Theism or just an intelligent design?
Both.
I mean, this is the thing. It sucks if you believe in intelligent design. I probably would appeal to fine tuning, like the cosmological argument. It sucks. It's really bad argumentation, but unfortunately, it's the best you've got. As believers, it really is. So, Father, that being said, what else could Father Joseph have done, right? So, touche on that. That was his best bet. It was literally the best argument he could make. Now, if it weren't just for intelligent design, it were for faith or religion, the best argumentation I've ever done, I wish I could remember the dude's name. Steven Pinker was there, Hitchens was there, Dawkins was there, and this dude, for the first time in my life, made a pro-religion argument that not only was it excellent, it convinced me by the time he was done, and I've never looked at religion the same way ever since then. I wish I could remember the dude's name. Fantastic argumentation. Maybe I'll look it up someday when you and I have these conversations in the future.
How long ago was it?
Oh, Jesus. It's got to be at least 20 years ago.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I know one pastor that I've actually enjoyed listening to, which is kind of rare to find these days, was Vodi Bakum, but I'm not sure that he's put forth excellent arguments on a lot of things. Even though he's not a pastor, Nate Sala has an excellent argument against papacy. Although that one's just easy to knock down regardless. I know Catholics hate it. Sorry, guys. Don't mean to offend any Catholics that are watching or listening. I don't ascribe to papacy. And even looking at the original text, I mean, the language itself, in the original story, when they're at Caesarea Philippi, most certainly does not indicate that he's naming Peter as a pope. And even in the future, conversations that are had at the Council of Jerusalem and other gatherings, no, Peter considers himself one of the group. But Nate Sala gives an excellent argument. Vodi Bakum was a really good one. If you can figure out who did the argument that you really liked, I would definitely like the link to that, because I'm always interested in listening to that stuff while I'm working.
I think I found it. It could be for the motion sits Christopher Hitchens, Professor Richard Dawkins, and A.C. Grayling, whilst opposing the motion sits Nigel Spivey, Rabbi Julie Neuberger, and Roger Scruton. It could be Nigel Spivey or Roger Scruton. I might have to watch this and see.
That was something else I was going to bring up, is actually, if you go and you look at the really, really old Kabbalistic stories, right? Back before it became so really, really kind of like, I don't know, it gets twisted eventually when they start writing the, what is it? Is that the Talmud? Where that's the commentary on the scriptures. That starts getting funky, but again, that's man's input on the scriptures. But the stories that they use to explain why things are the way that they are, the one for the creation of the universe, is actually really cool. It talks about God being essentially like a potter and pouring out a vase full of flecks of gold. And the way the story's told, it explains how like these flecks of gold are representative of the universes that he goes on to position and create, and why he does it. I'll have to find it. I have it in one of my books. It's a really thought-provoking story.
Do you want to watch this, even if I'm wrong and it's not what I was thinking of? It's still just a debate as to why religion is good, essentially.
Yeah, sure. Not right now.
It's,
I'm probably going to wrap this up really soon. I've been streaming for over 20 hours, and I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
And dude, look, Kokoshuku, this isn't a matter of me taking up full out Judaism, okay? When we want to talk about the Abrahamic faiths, and that includes Christianity, the roots are the same. The same patriarchs that the Christian faith reveres are the patriarchs from the Judaic faith. So therefore, it would make sense to see what the ancient people within that faith were saying about their faith, and why things, the reasoning that they give, the explanations that they give. It's not a matter of ascribing to the faith itself. I hope that makes sense, because it does to me.
Would you say that Christianity is derivative of Judaism? Personal opinion and no pushback, just your opinion.
This is one that's one that I'm still kind of working on, as far as, because we know that in the beginning was the Word of God, and the Word was with God. The Word became God. All things were made through the Word of God and by the Word of God for the glory of God, right? And we know that then the Word becomes flesh, and that is the Messiah. So therefore, that would indicate, of course, that the Messiah is there from creation. It is him who does the act of creation. It's through him that all creation takes place. And I think that ancient Judaism was worshiping the same God that we're speaking of within Christianity. But I'm still kind of working through just, where all the tie-ins happen. And obviously there's a split off. I mean, that's just undeniable. I mean,
like wouldn't
Messiah, so therefore, and it even says that, they lose favor with God. and fall into they fall into judgment with God, and rightfully so. But
wouldn't Jesus, by definition, have to be a Jew and a leader of a Jewish sect, even if he immediately changed the name of it and was like, I don't agree with those Jews over there, I'm going to call it this?
Exactly. And actually, even as he hung on the cross, what's the sign they put over his head? King of the Jews. Okay. He lived his entire life as a Jew. So,
I think the
therefore,
hardcore Christians would say that's the
Yeah.
Romans blaspheming, though, right? Like,
however, Jesus himself outlines how he practices as a Jew. As a matter of fact, the Romans undo the very instructions that he leaves for us. For instance, to keep this, keep the Sabbath holy. The Sabbath is made, for us to have that day of rest with God, right? And it is meant to be on Saturday, but then in comes the Romans who say, nah, we're going to make it on Sunday. And I think the Romans made a lot of changes to the faith that, quite frankly, are blasphemous because they go against the exact outline and formula that the Messiah left for us. If he wanted us to do it different, don't you think he would have said so?
I agree with you that they have to be inherent in one another. I just know Christians that push against that because they don't like Jews.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking into I'm doing some studying. I may be looking to debate someone as far as whether, because I heard Andrew Wilson and some of Jay Dyer debating that the God of the Jews is not the God of the Christians. And I think that they are wrong on that. I still need to do more research and actually put together. I need to fine tune my arguments, but I may be looking to set up that debate in the near future.
Yeah,
Not
what I
with
find
them.
interesting is
Not with them. They're way out of my league.
what I find interesting is there seems to be historical record that even the church itself did not believe in the divinity of its teachings because it so easily morphed, changed, got adopted, switched around in order to appeal to the masses and to bring more people under its umbrella, which is fine, but it implies that even if God is real and God is divine, its proclaimed representatives on earth don't even seem to believe that because they don't take the scriptures seriously. They don't take the proclamations of faith seriously. They think they can bang around at the edges and it's no big deal so long as it gives them more control and brings more people in under their tent.
I agree. Jesus Christ. Dude, you have small penis. Fix your car. Sorry.
I have a small penis and I do not have a big loud car. So
I think
in defense of those with small penises, some of us don't need to compensate. Some of us compensate in other ways, if you know what I mean. We save money on our car.
I don't know how big your penis is, so I'm not going to comment on the size of it. They absolutely. I mean, you can look at decisions that were made by even the Orthodox Church itself before the schism, okay, that directly are in direct conflict with what the Bible says and with what the actual, God says, do XYZ for these reasons, but then you have a pope that's like, oh, no, what he really meant was, you should do this. And it's like, well, wait a second, that's completely not what he said. Why are you going against it? We can even see with the last pope, he was outrageous with some of the changes some of the things. Oh God, see, new computer. I don't
Like,
think
you
I have
think you'd
my
be
link.
scared of God's wrath, right? With the shit he got
Holy
away with.
shit! Oh my God, like I
You
have.
get my point.
Yeah, I have a bookmark somewhere with where freaking just looking at the heresies committed by just the last pope, and it's like, wow. How how Catholicism ever allowed that to happen is beyond me. But then again, Catholicism, when the church was structured by Constantine in 325 AD, and the councils that took place over the next 150 years, right? They structured this more to appease the pagans than to keep to what the faith was supposed to be. And Constantine, I get it. Sorry, Dusty. I know he's your great 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 grandpa. You won't mind. Constantine, the way that he came to power was shady. He used Christianity as a way to, pretty much as just a stepping stone to take over the throne. Because at the time that he was supposed to move up, Rome was under a tetrarch. Okay, so there were 4 emperors, not one. And he talks to one of his buddies. They were supposed to be next in line to take over one of those tetrarch spots. They got passed over and sent off on like crusade work, right? Go unalive, people. You're good at it. And Constantine was pissed about it, so he goes to his buddy who also got passed over and is like, I have a great idea. Let's use Christianity rather than unaliving all these people. Let's get them all on our side. And he does exactly that. And then at the end of the march, he has his army go capture his friend who just helped him do all this fucking work and hold him there till he can come and personally execute him and declare himself to be the one and only emperor of Rome, and then goes on to establish himself as the first pope. However, he kept pagan deities on the money, and he made it a law that Christian churches were not allowed to be built within the walls of Roman cities. Did you know that?
Yeah. I did a report on Constantine when I was in high school.
Constantine did some shit.
Yeah.
And then you can go through the holidays. The holidays are freaking absolutely horrific. Well, the idea that the Pope can be infallible is absolutely a heresy. Christmas, that's completely like a Mithras tie. It's tied in with Mithras. Yeah. We're just gonna go with Mithras because I can't say Mithraism. Easter, same thing. Like they had multiple holidays that were just tied in to make it so that pagans could worship easier, and they claimed them to be Christian when they really never fucking were. And this is why, I mean, if you ever want to actually celebrate the resurrection of the Messiah, guys, you start at Passover, and on the third morning, all right, so you have your Passover Seder. 3 mornings later is your resurrection. Sometimes Easter is a whole month later. So I don't know who you're celebrating being resurrected, but it's not Jesus. Just saying.
I remember WikiWeb was launched the year that I did my report. It was like what would eventually become Wikipedia. It didn't exist prior to that year, and I used it to research my paper, if I can remember correctly. It's when you dig that far past into memories, I think a lot of it's just bullshit after a while.
I watched I'll have to send you some links. I found a professor who is one of the top scholars when it comes to Constantine and his life and the things that he did throughout his life and what he actually wrote, like right down to the whole establishment of the cross. There was more than one story, and the cross didn't the original cross didn't look like the cross we have now, guys. It really didn't. And the way it came to him first, he said, was in a dream. And then after that battle, he then changed the story and said he saw it in the sky and knew that God was on his side. I mean, like, the story keeps changing, and he had a big hand in his own autobiography. But like, yeah, I found the scholar who really deep dives into his life and what he did and why, and right down to like how he joined the church and state together. And really, in all actuality, he kind of conquered the world. If you want to be real about it, Rome never fell. Rome just put on a different hat and conquered the world, and it still stands to this day.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. Brilliant move.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Brilliant move, and Dusty should be proud.
Yeah, there was this dude T. Johnson, I think, in your chat.
I don't see him. Let me
Do you know who that is?
I don't see him.
He kept saying, like, correct panelist or true panelist. And I don't know if he was talking about me or the other dude on the panel. But I just wanted to say, if you liked my ideas on this debate, please subscribe to my channel. It's in my avatar. At Denizen-X. I just crossed over 800 subs today. Woohoo!
Congratulations. I need less than 150 to get monetized, so I would greatly appreciate the help if you guys could please sub to my channel if you're not subbed to my channel. Steelman, I don't have... I need a channel link for you because you came up here and contributed too. I definitely working towards that. I could use the help. But Denizen's always around. You can find him here. You can find him there. And you should try arguing with him. I mean that kindly. I hope.
Yeah, sorry for yelling at you guys.
I genuinely did not. Like I told you, I don't know what that is.
It took you a while to say it, though, and then you wouldn't let me explain it.
I was waiting for you to explain it. I was trying to friggin'... But then you
and part of it wasn't you. Part of it was him.
You kept asking me questions, and I'm like, I don't understand that. So what if you just answered this for me? What does it take? What is it that needs to be had? What is it that is the proof that people are looking for? When is enough enough? Okay, because... Yeah, the bottom line, no, I don't, and I said outright, I don't know my fallacies. I said I don't know that fallacy like 4 or 5 times.
No, it's not a fallacy like that. It's not like a logical fallacy. The watchmaker argument. It was posited by a theist, because that's like he was comparing the complexity of a watch to the complexity of nature. And the reason why it ends up being fallacious, not like a fallacy, so to speak, that's not what I meant. It's a well-known poor argument, just like the fine-tuning argument is well known to be shitty. Because if you come across a watch on a sandy beach, it sticks the fuck out. Because intelligent design doesn't look anything like nature. Nature looks completely different, like something else, aside from intelligent design. So in that case, he was saying you can recognize intelligent design by its complexity, compared it to a watch, and says all you have to do is look at a tree to tell that it was made by God. But if you hold up a watch next to a tree, well, I know you're a believer, obviously, Beth, right? But you would agree with me. It's a bad argument because the watch and the tree
Are
look
two very
clearly.
things.
Yes, the watch screams intelligent design, and the tree screams I'm not a watch, right?
Right. One literally has a life and the capability of growing, whereas the other is unchanging.
Yes,
Except for if
and
it breaks. and that takes something to affect it to break.
yeah, and then if you think about the complexity of a tree, I mean, from one perspective or another, glancing at it, it's less complex than a watch, right? But in its actual nature and intricacy, it's more complex than, my thoughts.
Yeah. I get it. I didn't
And,
know what I'd never heard the watchmaker's fallacy
and,
before.
and,
Never heard that one.
and saying, and because even if I couldn't come up with a good explanation for what would be proof of the creator of the fucking universe, right? It's like you're essentially saying, hey, Den, answer the most complicated question that's ever been asked in the history of all mankind. Oh, you can't do it? Well, that proves that my shitty evidence that makes no sense and is inaccurate is good evidence.
That
And
wasn't
you're
even
just
what-
not willing to accept it
That
because
wasn't
you won't accept anything, Denizen.
That wasn't even where I was going with it. What I was going if what I would follow up with actually is then how do we find a middle ground to meet at if nothing's good enough? Not my shit automatically wins. No, we still need to find a way to meet someplace where we can be talking about the same thing and have the same understanding and be willing to look at it at least from similar perspectives, even if we're turning it and looking at it from multiple perspectives. Does that make sense?
No, can you say that again?
All right. I would not have said my shit automatically wins. I would have said, if nothing is good enough, how do we find the middle ground where we can meet and look at this together? And a better way to put it, establish something that does work. Or okay,
That's a fair question, Beth, but you understand that in that moment,
it can look like a gotcha. I see what you're saying.
very specific evidence was being proposed. That evidence was lousy because not only is it not evidence of the thing that it claimed, but it was wrong. It was inaccurate. The sun and the moon aren't the same size in the sky. They were different sizes 500 years ago, and they'll be different sizes 500 years from now. So, no matter what the answer to your question is, that evidence is shitty.
But
and whether or not you were doing it, I guarantee you, Steelman, whether he will admit it or not, that's what he was doing. He was making the case for his shitty sun and moon argument.
And see, that's the thing is, my argument was, no, of course they're not the same size. If they were the same size, it wouldn't work.
Right.
They have to be different sizes at different distances from the Earth with different masses and different rotations.
Which doesn't disprove God, right?
Absolutely has to be. No, it doesn't disprove. And
of course not.
Nor does it.
But it does.
Fully prove.
But it does disprove his argument. His evidence gets disproved. That's all I was saying. I was just trying to avoid trying to smuggle in that shit as evidence of God. All the other stuff that was going on in your head, I was not trying to fight with. I was only pissed off about the idea that if I can't come up with an explanation for how to prove God, then somehow that makes his made up bullshit that's not even accurate a good argument.
Gotcha.
Yes, he's doing it again. Yes, Steel Man. Even if they were the same size, that would not be evidence of God. The fact that they're not the same size makes it worse evidence of God. It doesn't somehow prove that it's evidence of God. It's worse now. If they were the same, that would be more of a coincidence. It would be more unlikely and still not evidence of God. However, they're not the same. It's just some shit that you made up. Therefore, it's not an argument at all. It's not even a coincidence. So now, not only is it not even evidence of God, now it's not even evidence of a coincidence.
Okay, let's get this straight, Dennison. Did you not concede that even if they were the exact same size for all eternity, let's just say, that still wouldn't be evidence of an intelligent designer to you, right?
Correct.
Okay,
to anyone
thank you.
who knows what evidence is.
So stop saying, well, because they're 5% difference at their maximum difference, even though they're 400 times the size of difference in reality. That's not this point. That's not a good point. That's not evidence.
They don't appear the same in the sky.
They do appear the same in the sky, but let's just say
they don't.
But
one appears larger than the other.
This is why you're red herring, because you just conceded. You're
no
saying
red herring.
Here's why it's
you're
red herring.
It doesn't matter.
You're a red herring.
Let me explain why you're giving a red herring. Because you just conceded again that if they did appear the exact same size from planet Earth with 0% difference from now and forever, that still wouldn't be evidence to you.
It's not evidence, period. Not just to me.
It is.
Your coincidence is not
what
evidence of God.
First of all, you don't understand what evidence is.
It's inaccurate. It's not real. You made it up. They don't appear the same in the sky.
But again, you're saying, first of all,
the moon moves.
Hold on a second. You're saying that the sun and the moon don't appear to be almost identical in size from planet Earth?
Almost?
Yeah, exactly.
Who gives a fuck about almost?
No, well, you just said...
We're talking about the perfect divine creator of the universe.
Okay, but
what does almost
hold on a
mean?
second. You already conceded that even if they were appearing the exact same size from planet Earth, you still wouldn't say that's evidence. So stop trying to say that
It's not. And so what you have is less evidence.
So, but what I'm saying is to you, that wouldn't even be evidence even if they appeared the exact same size, right?
Correct.
So stop red herring with, they can appear 5% difference.
It's not a red herring.
It is, because
you're trying to make a red herring out of the fact that I also wouldn't consider it evidence if the coincidence were actually real. The fact that the coincidence doesn't even exist
so I want to make this
less
clear.
Evidence.
So let me make this clear to everyone. Dennison is saying that even though the sun is apparently about 400 times the size of the moon in reality, and if it appeared to be the exact same size only from planet Earth, that he still wouldn't consider that evidence of an intelligent designer.
Correct. And the moon's moving.
That's why we're saying we can't figure out what your bar of fucking evidence is then.
So what? It's got nothing to do with your evidence being shitty. You see how you're the one doing a red herring? No, not knowing my bar for evidence doesn't change the fact that your evidence in quotes
because your bar of evidence doesn't exist.
It doesn't meet anyone's bar. It's shitty.
That's the point, is that your bar of evidence doesn't exist. You're just constantly on
my bar of evidence is irrelevant. You reach no bars. You don't even have a coincidence.
That's because you don't have a bar, and that's why she was asking you, what's your bar? And you're saying, I don't have one. You can give me all the evidence in the world. I'm just going to turn it up to coincidence.
No, not all the evidence of the world. Any evidence at all. You've given me none. You've given me zero evidence.
First of all, see what I'm saying?
Now you're saying shit that you made up. The sun and the moon are not exactly the same size.
Then I guess we need to define evidence.
The sun and the moon will consistently change sizes in relation to one another over time.
You've already conceded that would be irrelevant to you anyway.
Is drifting away. As a matter of fact, eventually the moon will be so far away it's gonna fuck up the planet as it is.
First of all, that's a red herring again.
Your fucking designer is.
If you hadn't
it's
already
all
conceded,
horseshit.
You've already conceded that none of that matters. You've already conceded that even if that wasn't
No,
the case,
I
it wouldn't
didn't.
matter to you.
You're shit. You're making up.
No,
you're
you just
making
did it.
that up. It matters
You just
a lot.
conceded it three
the
times,
fact that
and I
you're
made it very
even
clear.
more wrong than you could be matters.
Oh,
it
so
makes
you
you
didn't-
more wrong. It
Okay,
makes
so-
your evidence less coincidental. You don't even have evidence of a coincidence. You have evidence of nothing.
So are you saying that you didn't just concede that even if none of that, even if they were the exact same size forever, that still wouldn't matter? You're saying now that you didn't say that?
No.
Exactly. So the fact that you're saying, oh, it's gonna change 1 or 2% here and there. Why are you even saying that when you could just say, even if it didn't change 1 or 2% here and there, it still wouldn't be evidence? So what the fuck are you keep going back and red herring for?
It's not a red herring. You have less evidence than no evidence.
No, it is, because we're now on a hypothetical. My hypothetical was, if the sun appeared the exact same size as the moon from planet Earth, from our perspective only, would that be evidence?
Why
And you're
you just
saying,
keep
and you're still saying
asking
no.
the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, and then you're denying it. First, you're conceding that
I didn't deny it a single time. I'm denying that you have any evidence of God.
Okay,
and you don't.
And now we need to. Then I'm saying we need to literally define evidence, because at this point,
No, I don't need to define shit.
That's because you don't know what the fuck evidence is. That's my
The
point.
burden is on you.
Not if you don't know what evidence is.
I tore apart your shitty
How
fucking
can
attempt
anyone
to prove
present
God.
evidence?
You
Okay,
lost.
how can
and now
anyone
you're just being a big fucking crybaby about it. Do better. Come up with something else.
Dude, how can anyone present evidence to you when you just say, well, that's just not evidence? Okay, then what the fuck is evidence?
I didn't just say it's not evidence. I demonstrated how it's not.
No, actually, you demonstrated
It's literally
that-
false.
Actually,
the
quite the
moon and the
opposite.
sun aren't the same size in
Yeah,
the sky.
red herring,
and
because
the moon
you
is
just said-
moving.
Red herring,
so
because
it
you just-
literally
nope,
will
you're red herring
change
again.
its size in relation to the sun.
You see how he's red
depending
herring?
on when you look at it.
You just
I
said-
logically and factually demonstrated how you
No.
don't know what the fuck
Actually, you
you're
logically-
talking about, and
actually, you
your
did quite the
evidence
opposite.
sucks.
Actually, you did quite the opposite, because you said even if they were the exact same size for all eternity, that still wouldn't be evidence to you. So then you're going on to say, no,
Correct.
I demonstrated it. So then quit saying I demonstrated it, because they can be a maximum
I
of
did.
appearing-
I demonstrated it. We're not talking about where they're the same size in all eternity.
Yes, we are.
We're talking
We've
about
moved into a
this
hypothetical.
really real world.
No,
where
no,
they're
no.
not the same size in the
No,
sky
the reason we're
now,
talking about them being the
and
exact
they
same
keep
size.
changing because the moon is
No,
moving.
but you've already
that's
conceded
the
that that's
really
not a
real
point.
world that we live in.
But
I'm
you've already
sorry you were
but-
wrong.
But you already
Would you
conceded
like to
that-
come up with some other evidence?
Yeah, you've already
perhaps? Or
see-
you just want to keep
Oh, you're just gonna
crying
try
and
and talk over
spurging
me because
over
you're
whatever
afraid.
the fuck
You're
this
just
is.
you're just gonna try and spurg and gish out because you know that I'm fucking making a point that you can't handle. You keep going back to no. There
You're
could
not
be a
making
small-
any points. You
Then shut
lost.
the
You
fuck
were
up and let me-
wrong.
Okay, then I'll ask you again. If they did appear the exact same size without any variation for all history and through all time, from our perspective
Why are
only,
you asking again?
because
Who
you keep
cares?
denying it and you keep moving back from
No,
it.
who denied anything?
Okay, then stay
I'm
on this
done with- I'm
hypothetical
done.
with
You're
me.
stupid.
See, yeah, I know you're done because you can't fucking handle it.
You're stupid.
Because, okay, see, go ahead.
I
and
handled
stop.
it fine. You're
Yeah,
dumb.
go ahead and move to ad homs because that's all you got. All you got is gish galloping,
dumb.
fucking spurging, and get. And
You're
fucking
wasting
ad
my
homs,
time.
bitch. Yeah,
You're
go ahead
wasting
and
my
run.
time.
Go ahead and run, little bitch, because you know I'm fucking right.
I'm not going anywhere. You're right
Okay,
about
good.
what?
Then shut the fuck up and let me make
What
my
are you
point.
right about?
I'm right about the fact that you've conceded that even if they appeared the exact same size for all of history, that still would not be evidence to you of an intelligent
cares?
designer.
Correct. Who cares?
So I'm saying, yeah. So what I'm saying is, if that's not evidence to you, then we need to define evidence, because I would say
I don't
that
need
that
to
is
find shit.
evidence.
Who's we? You got a mouse in your pocket?
See how you see? You're just such a little bitch. You just can't stay on point. You're going to try and ad hom and fucking
Who
get
is
out and all
we?
this shit, red herring.
Who's we?
Who are you talking about? We? I don't. What the fuck are you talking about?
You just said we have to define evidence. Are you retarded? Are you
Yeah,
having a
talking about
stroke
you
right
and
now?
I, you fucking moron. Are you
No,
the
I
retarded
don't
one?
need to do shit. I
Yeah,
don't need to
because-
do anything.
Right.
You
And I'm
need to
saying,
come up
then
with the
you have
evidence.
lost. Then you have lost the debate.
You're the one making the claim that there's a God. I
no,
don't
you're
have to
no, no,
come
no.
up
I'm
with
not.
shit.
You're first of all, no, I'm not. You're
I
the
don't
one
have
making.
to come up with your
Yes.
standard of
No,
evidence for a
sir.
God that I don't agree exists.
No, you're the one making the claim that that's not
That's
evidence.
not how the burden of proof works.
Did you just
You
make
have
the claim?
to come up with evidence.
Did you make the claim that I didn't present evidence?
Any good evidence? You made some shit up
Okay,
and it
so
was
you
wrong.
made the claim. You made the claim, and that's why now let's hear you define what evidence is. Then, if I didn't even present evidence, you could even you can see your problem is you could say
You didn't present evidence of a God. You didn't even present evidence of a coincidence.
You're right. I didn't present either of those things.
You
I presented
presented
evidence.
factually incorrect things that you made up.
I didn't make
And
anything
that
up.
can
I
be
presented
logically and
evidence.
factually disproven by reality.
We even used we've actually moved into hypotheticals now. We said hypothetically, if it was all the exact same size and everything like that,
Who
that still
cares
would.
about hypothetically?
Well, I do right now. Obviously, I wouldn't be fucking talking to you about it.
Why?
And
I don't.
And you've already conceded to the
I'm talking
hypothetical.
about the
You've already
real
engaged
world.
you engaged in the hypothetical. You conceded to the hypothetical.
So what?
So now we're into the hypothetical realm.
I'll
and
do
you're
it
saying,
again. Who cares?
I know. See
It's
how
not proving anything.
You're just fucking.
You're wasting your time. Do you have any actual evidence?
Dude. You're just pure obfuscation, dude.
Do you have any actual evidence?
Well, yeah, sure. I'd love to present it to you. So
go ahead. Do it.
Okay, great. So since I don't know what evidence is to you, I would like to know what is evidence to you.
You've got the evidence. You already know it. Show it to me.
Well, no, but you say that's not evidence. So I would like to know.
It's your God. You were wrong about the sun and the moon. Get over
I'm asking
it.
you, what is
Come with
evidence?
some other evidence. Do you have any other evidence besides the shit that you were wrong about that you made up?
Okay, hold on a second. Do you realize that we're in the realm of a hypothetical right now? Where am I wrong?
No. We're not in the realm of a hypothetical
yes,
right now.
because we've moved into this realm of hypothetical where the
We're
sun
on
and the
planet
moon.
Earth where reality is real, and you're proposing there's a real God.
No, I
You
proposed
have
a
evidence
hypothetical.
of it. You claim to have evidence of it. One,
I
two,
went
three,
so
go.
extreme that I proposed a hypothetical, and you engaged in it and agreed to it and conceded to it.
Do you
and
have
you're still
evidence of God?
Well, what's evidence to you?
What's evidence to you?
Well, my evidence to me would be like something that I could show that gives the possibility to an explanation.
A possibility of God is evidence to you?
Right. That's
I
what evidence.
concede that God is possible.
Okay. Excellent. Evidence is not proof, by the way. Just so we're clear on that.
Correct.
You present evidence to a jury.
And what you said wasn't even factual.
But well, first of all, it was. But second of all, we've already moved away to a purely hypothetical that you've conceded to, and you still denied it as evidence. So even if
what you said wasn't even factual.
Yeah, actually, it was. But let's just say that the sun.
It's not. The sun and the moon do not appear to the same in the sky.
Oh my gosh! Then you have to be an idiot to think that. Anyway, let's just.
The moon is bigger, and before it was smaller.
Oh, it's bigger. Then how come on an eclipse, it perfectly?
Sorry, it's smaller, and before it was bigger. 500 years ago, you wouldn't be able to see. You wouldn't even be able to see the corona of the sun during an eclipse 500 years ago.
We can dive into all these details, but it doesn't matter because you've already conceded that. Even if that
it
wasn't
doesn't
the case,
matter if we dive into the actual facts of the matter.
Well, yeah, no,
who cares about that shit?
Because did you not?
Do you have any other evidence, sir?
Shut the fuck up and let me talk instead of being a fucking
moron. Do you
moron,
have any other evidence, sir?
Did you not already concede that even if that wasn't the case?
Do you have any other evidence?
Did you not already concede? Yeah. Sure, I can give you evidence, but you're so fucking.
Go ahead, go.
But you're so retarded.
Let's talk about that. This is boring.
You're so retarded, dude. You can't see it.
Boring.
Excuse me for a moment. Ashton, you're on panel. You're just muted. What's up?
Oh, I typed it in the back chat because I didn't really want to derail everything.
I had stepped away. I was.
Please derail this fucking nonsense.
Oh, shut up, Dennis. And all you do is derail and obfuscate.
Sorry, was looking for food.
You didn't miss nothing except Dennison fucking spurging out and trying to interrupt because he knows he's getting dunked on.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen.
Is that your evidence of God?
No, you don't know what evidence is, bitch. God could spit in your fucking face and you would be like, oh, that's just a coincidence. You don't know what evidence is. You've already conceded that there is no evidence.
I dare you to put it in my face.
You've already conceded.
Double dog dare you. Prove that claim.
Okay, dude, the thing is, you're so fucking stupid, you wouldn't realize
Did you want to
evidence.
say something, Outline? Because I'm listening to you. I don't know if he is.
You've already conceded to the hypothetical that if they were appeared the exact same size, from our perspective only, that still wouldn't even be evidence. You're not even saying that that's bad evidence or that's not evidence that you're going to accept as proof. You're just saying that that's not even evidence at all.
Scaleman, may I have 1 moment, please?
Oh, please take your time.
Thank you. If you shut the fuck up long enough for me to get a moment in edgewise, that'd be awesome. Beth, I'm having a stream tonight. You are cordially invited. You, OG, Denizen, and everybody. I'm trying to do some grifting. We've had a kind of a car emergency happen, so I need a little bit of help. And I would greatly appreciate it if you would come, if you would bring OG.
Ashton, wait. Ashton, listen. I understand you're having a car emergency. If there's any way you can do it tomorrow, that's going to be better. We have all been up since yesterday. We just streamed for 20 hours. Well, 21 hours. I am so dead right now. I'm just trying to find a bit of food, and then I'm gonna cry myself to sleep in a little bit because I'm just bleh.
You're invited, and your audience is invited. I can't really drop my link in right now.
I want everybody to please support Ashton. Ashton, stream tonight and stream
Yes.
tomorrow. Stream both.
Well, tomorrow I have to get that car fixed before I go to work, because if not, then I won't have money to do the things. But I am going to go tonight. I'm probably going to stream for like 3 to 4 hours. It's going to be a grab bag of everything. Denizen, you are invited as well. I would love to have your input on certain things. So if you would like to come talk shop, I would very much appreciate to have you.
If I'm awake, I would be honored, sir. I've been on a fucking streamathon. I think I might have fallen asleep on this stream and not even realized it.
I think you did
Well, I
too,
know you
because I
guys
tried
have
to talk to you a few times and it took you a while to respond, and then you
I think
clearly
I was
didn't.
responding in my mind and not in reality, like I was dreaming my responding.
Well, if you could, Beth, if I could steal a favor, if you could drop my my channel in the main chat there, and
Yeah,
people of Beth's channel come.
I'm
Go ahead, I'll
looking
shut up.
for it right now. I'm trying to find it.
Oh, you're good. But if you guys would like to come hang out and chill and make fun of people with me, I'd love to have all y'all. Peace out, Girl Scouts. I'm gonna get back to work.
See you later. Guys, Ashton's a good guy. He's a dad with young children. And
he has a superior beard.
He's a lot of fun, and I can't find his channel. I know. Oh, there we go. Okay, okie dokie. Hang on. I'm coming right up. Motherfucker. Alright, so.
Pretty sure I'm already subbed.
Here we go. Okay. Come on. There we go. Let me go here. Okay. I'm getting there. I'm trying. I'm really trying. I'm so I'm wasted. Like, I can't even. It has been a rough 21
So the
hours.
people want to know, when you go to sleep right now, are you going to be cuddling with Val?
Oh, of course I'm going to be cuddling with Val. She always cuddles with me. The big question is going to be, what the hell do I fall asleep to? I don't know what time Ashton's going on tonight, so everybody please sub up to Ashton. Here is his link. I just dropped it in the chat. I don't know why that didn't turn out as a link. Let me try it.
Yeah, I'm subbed already.
Or did it turn up as a link? It did turn up as a link.
The first one didn't work. The second one did. Or the last one did. Hey, Lee Fang.
Yeah, he's a dad with young children. He needs some support. So, please show him some support. Denizen, just leave me. What a dick. You're fired, Ashton. Or fucking Denizen. Whoever you are. Whoever I was hanging out with. It was Denizen. Guys, we have been going, like I said, for a very long time. And it is time for bed. I appreciate everybody for coming out. I had a great time watching this debate with you guys. Like I said, please go help out Ashton. He's a good guy. And I will catch up with everybody tomorrow. Have a wonderful night.